MOU City had the resources and future of Pill City but was 10 times, no, 100 times prettier than Pill City. The management was thousands of times better as well. In Pill City, low-level cultivators had to move aside respectfully when they saw high-level cultivators and weren't allowed to contest valuable things with them. But in MOU City everyone was equal. MOU City had the resources and future of Pill City but was 10 times, no, 100 times prettier than Pill City. The management was thousands of times better as well. In Pill City, low-level cultivators had to move aside respectfully when they saw high-level cultivators and weren't allowed to contest valuable things with them. But in MOU City everyone was equal. Now, it was too hard to settle in MOU City. There was no way to cheat the citizenship system, and the price of land was not something ordinary cultivators could afford. Even hollow spirit state and body condensation state cultivators could only rent a place. But those foundation establishment state, and even chi-gathering cultivators who stayed in MOU City before had their own place. Their land couldn't be taken away as in MOU City. Even a truth realization state was equal to an ordinary citizen. Those chi-gathering cultivators who knew business all rented their land to high-level cultivators and now didn't need to look around for resources. They just had to rent a place together and could cultivate. As time moved on, more and more cultivators came to MOU City and all sorts of resources, materials, and spirit herbs flowed to MOU City. MOU City's commercial streets became more and more developed, and the city grew prosperous. At this moment, Yemo was walking side by side with Luoying and Ningqingxue by the river outside the city. After separation and running, they were finally settled. No one spoke now. This warmth and peace was what they'd always been seeking, and now that they finally got it, they felt how precious it was. "Husband, I really like it here. If possible, I really want to live here my entire life. We can cultivate together and walk out together." Luoying raised her pretty face and her eyes were full of anticipation. She was a little older than Ningqingxue, but her heart was younger than her. Her request was simple: to be with the person she loved in the place she liked. Everything else came second. Yemo nodded and pulled their hands. "When things end here and MOU City is stable, you guys can stay here and cultivate. Qingxue can help me look after MOU City. Are you going to go again?" Luo Susu felt her hands shaking. She feared Yemo leaving them again the most. Yemo embraced Susu and said softly, "I don't want to leave you guys as well, but it is a long time past the date I promised Song Yangzhu I would come for her. I'm afraid they're getting worried, so I want to bring Yiling and Song Yangzhu as well as Jin Wen all here. Then we can all live in MOU City and never separate." But Yemo didn't say that when his power was strong enough, he would get revenge at Infinity Sect. Ningqingxue and Luoying didn't speak. They didn't want Yemo to leave, but it wasn't right to leave Song Yangzhu and them in North Far State. Yemo sighed. "It's a pity I'm only a level 8 formation Grandmaster now. If I'm one day a level 9 formation Grandmaster or even higher, I will set up a teleportation formation between MOU City and North Far State. And also there's Yemo, ask about her when you go," Ningqingxue said sadly. She thought about her parents. Who knew if Lil Yemo would miss her parents? Yemo never mentioned it, but how could she not know? Yemo was worried about Yemo the most. Luoying suddenly blushed as though she wanted to say something. Yemo embraced Luoying tightly and said, "Susu, what do you want to say? There's only us three here." Ningqingxue suddenly grabbed Luoying's other arm and said, "Sister Susu asked me last time why she still wasn't pregnant." But then Ningqingxue also said quietly, "Actually, I want to know why we're still not pregnant after being with you for so long." They'd long been wanting to ask this, but they were too shy and were with other people. Yemo held them softly and said, "Don't worry, it's just that I don't want a child now. When we're stronger then we can think about it." Before Yemo didn't really understand, but he had realized now that if a female cultivator wanted to get pregnant, she needed to stop cultivation for at least a few years. Yemo knew now was the time for them to improve their cultivation. They couldn't stop. The higher the cultivation level, the longer the lifespan. Why even worry about having offsprings now? Yemo was already very happy with Yemo. Suddenly, a red flying sword landed on Yemo's hand. Yemo saw it, and his face changed drastically. He quickly took Ning Qingxue and Luoying flying east. What happened? Ning Qingxue asked. Luoying also looked at Yemo in confusion. Yemo gave the flying sword to the two and said, "It's Qing Nana who messaged me, she's Zifeng's wife. I didn't expect her and Zifeng to be in South Peace State as well. But Zifeng left her because he couldn't cultivate. I only knew this because I saw her in Truth Fall City once." "Zifeng is here too?" Ning Qingxue asked in shock. Yemo nodded, and before he spoke, the sound of fighting came. Yemo saw Qing Nana being attacked by two Golden Core State cultivators. They were wearing Eternity Sea uniforms. Yemo knew without asking that Qing Nana probably heard he came to MOU City and wanted to come, but she was found by Eternity Sea cultivators. She was quite capable to be able to escape to the outskirts of MOU City. Qing Nana saw Yemo and them come, and her face immediately rejoiced. She knew her life was saved. The two Eternity Sea cultivators saw Yemo and immediately recognized him to be MOU City's City Lord, Yemo. Their face grew bad. Yemo's story of killing Hollow Spirit State Level 7 Ning Wujian was spread everywhere. Even nascent Soul State cultivators were just one slap for Yemo, much less them Golden Core State cultivators. "We greet City Lord Yi." The two quickly bowed. Qing Nana quickly came up respectfully. "Big brother, sister-in-law Luoying and Qingxue." The two greeted back but didn't have a deep impression of her. "What's going on?" Yemo asked Qing Nana. Qing Nana said, "After I knew Big Brother came back to MOU City, I immediately wanted to come, but the sect knows about me seeing Big Brother at Truth Fall City and they suspected Wu Yu's death has something to do with Big Brother. They've been watching me constantly. I found an opportunity and escaped here, but I was still caught up by them. Qian Bei, this has nothing to do with us. We were following her, but we didn't try to kill her. We're just responsible for bringing her back to the sect," one Eternity Sea cultivator quickly said. Yemo sneered. "You heard her, she calls me Big Brother, and from now on, she's no longer an Eternity Sea cultivator. On her account I won't kill you today. Go back and tell your sect leader, if he still wants to scheme against me, go for it." Yes, Wan Bei will leave," the two quickly said and ran off without daring to coming back. "Sorry, Big Brother, I brought trouble to you again," Qing Nana said worriedly. Yemo waved his hand. "Come back with us to MOU City first, don't worry about Zifeng, I will look around for him." "Yes, Big Brother," Qing Nana quickly said. Luoying and Ning Qingxue saw Lin Yibin rushing over from afar and immediately knew he had business with Yemo. So they said, "We'll take Qing Nana back first, do what you need to do." After the three were gone, Yemo looked at Lin Yibin and asked, "Brother Lin, is there something? Silver Moon Pill King is here too and he has some business with you," Lin Yibin quickly said. Soon Yu Qichao and Xingguanqing came together. Yemo quickly bowed and asked, "Is there something urgent for the two Qian Bais to come find me suddenly?" Xingguanqing smiled. "Can't we come to you even if there's nothing? But we really do have something. MOU City is very stable with your formations and 3 Truth Realization State cultivators. Marshal Brother Yu and I will help you find some people and bring a few old friends to settle here, otherwise, we would be too lonely." Yemo rejoiced. He knew these two Pill Kings were doing this for MOU City. How could cultivators feel lonely? Just as they were about to go, Yemo suddenly thought of one thing and quickly said, "Two Qian Bais, please stop, I have something to ask." "What is it?" Yu Qichu stopped and asked. "What is it?" Yu Qichu stopped and asked. "Have the two Qian Bei heard of Ice God Palace?" Yemo remembered the blue bead and the woman that defined extreme beautiful who was in his golden page world. Yu Qichao shook his head. "No, is this some sect? A new sect? I know Ice God Forbidden Grounds, but I've never heard of Ice God Palace." Xingguanqing shook his head too. "Do the two Qian Bais know when the Ice God Forbidden Grounds appeared?" Yemo asked again. The two shook their heads again. Xingguanqing said, "Ice God Forbidden Grounds have existed before our birth and the legends about it vary, But none of them are accurate, don't believe them. After sending off the two, Emo felt unimpressed. That Qingru woman told him to send the bead to the Ice God Palace, but he didn't even know where it was. Where would he find it? Luckily, he didn't say he was going to help her for sure. By the way, Brother Lin, your ancestor's home is a 9-star village, the current Nangong village, right? Emo asked. Lin Yibin nodded and seemed sad. Emo patted his shoulder. If you don't mind, can you tell me about your ancestor Chu Jiuyu? Lin Yibin didn't hesitate. Of course, I know all about my ancestor Chu Jiuyu from my father. Our family tree writes that after Chu Jiuyu broke the void in South Peace State, he didn't reach the immortal realm but landed in a place that couldn't support cultivation. My father said that place was called Earth Star, but it got changed to Earth. It's a place with little spirit chi. Emo thought, Chu Jiuyu indeed went to Earth, the place where he transmigrated. My ancestor Chu Jiuyu was unsatisfied. He didn't travel across the void to go to an arid place devoid of spirit chi, so he tried to get back to South Peace State. He thought of many ways and eventually used more than half of his extreme-grade materials to make a top-grade teleportation formation disc called Fish Jump Through Dragon Gate. But that formation disc can only bring one person back to South Peace State, and could only be used once. At that time, my ancestor had a lot of people with him, so he thought of another way. What way? Emo asked excitedly. The Fish Jump Through Dragon Gate was indeed Chu Jiuyu's work. Lin Yibin said dejectedly. My ancestor wanted to set up a teleportation formation on Earth and then use the Fish Jump Through Dragon Gate to get back to South Peace State and set up another teleportation formation there. Hearing this, Emo was confused. The teleportation formation was clearly set up, so why didn't Chu Jiuyu come back to South Peace State? Lin Yibin sighed. My ancestor found another small world called the Magical Continents while setting up the teleportation formation. That world's spirit chi was much denser than Earth, so my ancestor set the teleportation formation in Magical Continents. He believed it would be closer to South Peace State, and easier to set up a teleportation formation. But he didn't expect to have his immortal ascension divine damnation as soon as he set up the teleportation formation from Earth to Magical Continent Mountain before he set up the teleportation formation to South Peace State. You're saying your ancestor Chu Jiuyu ascended into the immortal realm from the small world? Emo asked in shock. If the teleportation formation at Xianjia Mountain wasn't set up by Chu Jiuyu, who did it then? If Chu Jiuyu ascended into immortal realm, how did Fish Jump Through Dragon Gate appear on Earth? Lin Yibin shook his head. I don't know if my ancestor ascended into the immortal realm, but according to the records of people who followed my ancestor, he gave his storage ring to his follower as soon as he noticed the divine damnation. He told him to give it to the descendants of the Chu family. The storage ring was indeed given to our family. The divine damnation was very terrifying. One lightning arc blew off the head of a mountain there. Emo now realized why the Magical Continent Mountain was flat. Lin Yibin continued. That follower of my ancestor came back to Earth through my ancestor's teleportation formation, but neither Earth nor small world spirit chi could sustain cultivation, so in order to go back to South Peace State, one of our Chu family member used Fish Jump Through Dragon Gate to get back to our 9-star village. He wanted to get a South Peace State formation Qianbei to set up a teleportation formation to the small world, but no one knew where the small world was, so that couldn't be set up. So that ancestor who returned to South Peace State wasn't able to get back his family on Earth, and his cultivation stagnated. He changed the village name to Fish Jump Through Dragon Gate Village in remembrance of his family. Then, our Chu family fell and the Fish Jump Through Dragon Gate Village fell in others' hands. Emo sighed and patted Lin Yibin's shoulder. Don't worry, when your cultivation reaches a level you will get back to the 9-star village. The two spoke as they walked and came back to Mou City. Emo knew what this Fish Jump Through Dragon Gate thing was now. Even if it was complete, so what? He didn't want to go back to Earth like Chu Jiuyu and be unable to come to Luoying and them. A month later, Emo left Silver with Ning Qingxue and the Snow Fox with Luoying before leaving them again. He was going to North Far State to pick up Yang Zhu and them as well as find Emo. He couldn't use the teleportation formation. As long as one of the 9-star or 8-star sects managing the teleportation formation didn't agree, he wouldn't be able to use it. Plus, he didn't want people knowing that he was leaving Mou City. He had an extreme grade cultivation artifact. According to Lu Wuhu, it would take about 5 years. But Yemo didn't think that way. When Lu Wuhu told him this, he was only hollow spirit state. He was now body condensation state level 3, the stronger he was the faster Blue Moon would be. So the 5 years could be shortened to 4 years. Plus, he would be in cultivation during flight, and if he reached cauldron filling state mid-travel, he might only need 3 years. For a cultivator, 3 years swung by quickly. He told Song Yangzhu and them he would be back in 2 or 3 years, but this time had already passed. He didn't know how hard it was to travel between the two states before. After Yemo left Mou City, he didn't go into the Heartless Sea immediately. He went to where Jiling died. He lost the Qianbei who helped him wholeheartedly here. He needed to pay his respects. The battleground was a mess. The mark of the low-grade immortal artifact was still there. Jiling's shattered ship was still there as well. Yemo sadly took this useless flying magic artifact and bowed before leaving. At this moment, Yemo felt an extremely weak voice calling out. He subconsciously shook. Why did he feel that was Jiling's voice? Soon, he rubbed his head and felt he thought too much. Even though Jiling was disaster transformation state, he wouldn't be able to keep his essence spirit with a truth realization state attacking. But in his confusion he heard that weak call again. It was indeed Jiling's voice. Yemo rejoiced. Jiling's essence spirit hasn't dissipated yet. He reproached himself for not coming here earlier. Soon, in a stack of dirt, Yemo found a pale yellow rock. Yemo could immediately tell it was formed by a formation, and was where Jiling rested his essence spirit. Indeed, as soon as Yemo picked up the stone, he heard Jiling's voice. My essence spirit is about to dissipate. I have a son Ji Qin at all formation sect. Please help me look after him, little brother Yi. Jiling's voice was getting weaker after just a few words. Yemo was very worried. You don't need to feel guilty. Without the immortal curl flower, even if you came earlier, it would be the same, Jiling said. Hearing that, Yemo thought and took out a clear bead. Qianbei, you can rest in this bead first. I will help you find immortal curl flower. Clear spirit bead? Jiling called out in shock. A month later, a blue ray darted over tens of thousands of kilometers from Mou City and disappeared into the Heartless Sea. A month later, a blue ray darted over tens of thousands of kilometers from Mou City and disappeared into the Heartless Sea. This was Yemo's blue moon. Yemo met Jiling's essence spirit, and although it was about to dissipate, it could be saved for now with Yemo's spirit cleansing bead. However, he knew that if he didn't find the immortal curl flower soon, he still wouldn't be able to save Jiling. The immortal curl flower had only been said to appear in one place, although no one had seen it before, and that was the Heartless Sea. The immortal curl flower could perfectly rebuild a cultivator's body as well as essence spirit. If he found immortal curl flower, Jiling would be saved, but without it, Jiling's death was unavoidable. Yemo strengthened Blue Moon's formation by adding another stealth formation. Yemo knew the hardest part about crossing Heartless Sea wasn't time or distance, it was that there were too many powerful beings there. If one offended a powerful faction in the Heartless Sea, even truth realization state cultivators couldn't be saved, much less him. So Yemo tried to keep low-key. If it weren't for Jiling, he wouldn't even plan on stopping at all. Jiling's essence spirit was weak and Yemo put the spirit cleansing bead on the Herb King's spirit range. After doing all that, Yemo set up another surveillance formation on Blue Moon before attaching 8 extreme-grade spirit stones and going into the Golden Page world to use the time formation disc to cultivate. Using a split of his spirit sense to control Blue Moon would reduce his speed, but Yemo didn't want to waste time. After flying for another month, Yemo was in the deep sea. He was body condensation state level 5 now, and although he gave all the spirit marrow ponds to Luo Ying and them, he had an extreme grade spirit range. This was no weaker than the spirit marrow pond, and the spirit chi was even denser. The only thing was it wasn't as easily devoured as the spirit marrow. But it didn't affect Yemo as he had the bitter bamboo. He didn't encounter any obstacles in this month. Even if he met some spirit beasts, Blue Moon was too fast and had already passed before they could react. The only pity was Blue Moon used 8 extreme grade spirit stones a month. Although Yu Chichao gave him some and he collected some himself, there were only about 100 now. This would only be enough to support Blue Moon for a year. The second month was about to pass, but Yemo had reached body condensation state level 6. Just when he was about to reach body condensation state level 7, a flying magic artifact faster than Blue Moon chased up to him. The target was clearly Blue Moon. Yemo was shook. He quickly left the Golden Page world and controlled Blue Moon to accelerate. With his full power concentrated on this, Blue Moon was even faster. The flying magic artifact behind also noticed this and sped up as well. Yemo soon found that after the people behind accelerated too, their speed was on par with him. He had a bad feeling, but when he saw that there were only 3 people behind and the strongest one was only Cauldron filling state level 3, he stopped Blue Moon. If the chase continued, he would be exposed and noticed. It was a chariot flying magic artifact, and at the front stood a pretty young girl with milky white skin. Her wavy hair fell loosely on her shoulder, and her face was a little red. What shook Yemo were her chests. They were like 2 huge mountains. This made Yemo think of his teacher Yunbing. Out of all the women he knew, Yunbing's chests were definitely big, but they weren't enough compared to this girl. Thinking of Yunbing, Yemo suddenly felt a little sad. Ever since he left Ninghai, he never went to visit her nor Ting Ting. Perhaps they would never meet again. Humph! A sneer sounded and Yemo turned around. She looked at most in her teens but was already hollow spirit state middle stage. Why are you running when you saw us coming? Did you do something bad? Who gave you the right to do what you want in this place? The girl asked coldly. Yemo frowned. This girl was either stupid or intentionally starting trouble. He didn't care about the girl but the 2 people behind her, 1 cauldron filling state level 2, 1 cauldron filling state level 3. Either of them would be quite tough for him to handle. It seemed her status was quite high as the 2 were her guards. Are your ears deaf? Did you not hear me asking you? The girl asked unhappily after seeing that Yemo didn't reply. Yemo said coldly, What does anything I do have to do with you? Is the Heartless Sea your home? Am I not allowed to pass? You're asking to die. The cauldron filling state level 2 heard this and immediately released a dark magic artifact. Yemo didn't even see what it was, but the cauldron filling state level 3 stopped the cauldron filling state level 2. He said to Yemo coldly, You're right, this place is our mistress's home. Considering that it's your first offense, leave your flying magic artifact and you can leave. Yemo immediately realized the girl's dodgy eyes showed that she wanted his Blue Moon, but she could keep dreaming. Yemo also noticed that when the cauldron filling state cultivator spoke, there was a sliver of cruelty in his eyes. Clearly, as soon as he gave Blue Moon, he would kill him. A mere body condensation state cultivator dares to cross the Heartless Sea, insolent. The cauldron filling state level 2 sneered. Yemo could tell these people weren't spirit beasts, but he didn't understand why there were cultivators at the depth of the Heartless Sea. Sorry, I'm not going to play with you. Yemo was about to activate Blue Moon. Since you don't want to live, I'll fulfill your dream. That cauldron filling state level 2 said and waved a black ray over at Yemo's head. Yemo sneered. If he really wanted to run, he wouldn't stop at all. This was the first time he fought with a cauldron filling state cultivator. He wasn't careless at all and immediately released Octagonal Cauldron and Zisu. When that dark magic artifact came above Yemo's head, he immediately felt this space didn't belong to him. Even the Octagonal Cauldron wasn't able to spin. He was shook and thought of the strike he created at the Spirit Marrow Palace and the words of that cultivator domain. Was this domain? This guy's domain wasn't even a little bit completed, but after that past experience, and this little bit of domain, his knowledge of domains instantly cleared up. He felt that he could easily turn that binding into his. There was no reason, it was a type of confidence. The next moment, Zissou hacked out and a long purple ray and his strong desire of binding space flew out. Nice cauldron! The cauldron-filling state saw Yi Mo's octagonal cauldron and quite liked it. Good thing, Wu! I want that big cauldron as well, the young girl said. Yi Mo sneered and hacked out Zissou even faster. The space that bound Yi Mo quickly shattered. Domain. The cauldron-filling state level 2 felt he couldn't restrict Yi Mo's magic artifact, and instead his magic artifact was restricted. He really didn't understand how a body condensation state cultivator could understand domains. Even he, who was under the tutelage of the sect leader, only barely understood a little bit. But he realized too late, his magic artifact completely stopped. Rumble crack Zissou clashed with the dark magic artifact and purple rays splashed everywhere. That cauldron-filling state spat blood and flew out, dragging a trail of blood behind him. That cauldron-filling state flew out 100 meters and stopped himself. The girl and the cauldron-filling state level 3 watching were shook. They never expected a cauldron-filling state level 2 would be hacked away by a body condensation state level 6 in one strike. That cauldron-filling state level 3 saw Yi Mo was about to continue the attack and quickly released his magic artifact to stop Yi Mo. That cauldron-filling state flew out 100 meters and stopped himself. The girl and the cauldron-filling state level 3 watching were shook. They never expected a cauldron-filling state level 2 would be hacked away by a body condensation state level 6 in one strike. That cauldron-filling state level 3 saw Yi Mo was about to continue the attack and quickly released his magic artifact to stop Yi Mo. Yi Mo saw this and rejoiced. This was his desired effect. He knew with his current power, even if he injured that cauldron-filling state level 2, he wouldn't be able to kill him. Drawing that cauldron-filling state level 3 away from the flying chariot was his goal, so when the cauldron-filling state tried to stop him, he turned away and flew towards the flying chariot. The two saw this and were scared shitless. They immediately knew what Yi Mo was trying to do. Their mistress wouldn't last even half a move. Don't kill her, the cauldron-filling state level 3 quickly called. If the mistress died, them dying wasn't even a big deal, but their family would have their souls burned. The wavy-haired girl saw Yi Mo coming and was immediately scared shitless. She saw a purple ray fly over. Am I going to die? This was her only thought. Yi Mo wasn't brainless enough to kill this young girl. It was obvious she had a big background, and if he killed her, that would be big trouble. If he was hunted on the Heartless Sea, how could he escape? He just wanted to destroy their flying chariot. Without it, how could they chase him? Zissou hacked on the flying magic artifact, and it made a huge explosion. Without looking at his result, he flew into Blue Moon and turned into a blue ray and disappeared. The flying cultivation artifact had a crack. It didn't affect flying, but it would be impossible to chase up to Yi Mo again. Arg! The girl screamed after Blue Moon disappeared. This bastard ruined my flying chariot. I'm going to kill him. The cauldron-filling state cultivators looked at each other in shock. They were rejoicing that the strike wasn't targeted at their mistress. They were also shocked at Yi Mo's power. If there was only one of them, perhaps he wouldn't choose to run and would instead kill them. How was a body condensation state this powerful? This was too absurd. Did he hide his power? That cauldron-filling state level 3 asked. The cauldron-filling state level 2 fell silent and shook his head after a while. Impossible! I felt that strike. It's body condensation state cultivation essence. I really don't understand how a body condensation state cultivator is this strong. Da Wu, Wu, let's chase up. I'm not going to let that bastard get away. I'm going to kill him and get his cauldron and that flying magic artifact. Wait, and that kitchen knife, the young girl yelled. The cauldron-filling state level 3 said, Mistress, that person intentionally damaged our flying magic artifact, and even if he didn't, we can only keep up but not chase up to him. Now, it's even more impossible. He ruined my magic artifact. I'm not going to let him go. I'm going to kill him. Go back immediately. Get my father to send out the hunt order. I don't believe he will be able to run from our Tong Hai cult land. The mistress clenched her teeth. She already forgot that Emo didn't kill her, or in her subconscious mind she felt no one dared to kill her. After escaping tens of thousands of kilometers away, Emo breathed easy. Luckily he destroyed their flying magic artifact. He wouldn't be able to get any benefit out of fighting those two cauldron-filling state. Emo didn't dare to stay in Golden Page World to cultivate anymore. He controlled Blue Moon to speed north while using time to cultivate. Another month later, Emo was body condensation state level 7. He felt his power increase again. More importantly, he had a deeper feeling of space control and a completely new knowledge of domains. Emo was cultivating on Blue Moon today, and suddenly his spirit sense scanned. There were 3 nascent soul state cultivators chasing a level 6 spirit beast. Emo thought his spirit sense was faulty and quickly checked again. It was right. In the depth of the Heartless Sea, there were nascent soul states chasing a spirit beast. Emo put away his Blue Moon and dashed to that level 6 sea lion. He easily kicked it unconscious, and those 3 nascent soul state just arrived. Seeing what Emo did, they were all horrified. Clearly, Emo's power was far greater than theirs. The few nascent soul state cultivators quickly bowed. "We greet Qianbei." Emo nodded. "This is the depth of the Heartless Sea. How can you overtly hunt spirit beasts? With your powers, is there no danger?" The 3 immediately understood what Emo meant and asked respectfully. "Qianbei just came to Heartless Sea, right?" Emo nodded. "Yes, what's wrong?" The nascent soul state cultivator quickly said. "Qianbei might not know that despite this place being extremely far from the nearest city of South Peace State Mo High City, but this isn't the depth of the Heartless Sea. This is still the border of Heartless Sea. In order to reach Deep Sea, even top-grade cultivation artifacts need about 2 to 3 years. We're the Sea Cultivator Alliance cultivators, and this is part of the Sea Cultivator Alliance's region." Emo was speechless. He had been in the Heartless Sea for 4 months, and he thought he was in the Deep Sea, but he was still actually at the border. Suddenly, he thought, how did that cauldron-filling state know he was passing through the Heartless Sea? Emo asked again. "Where is the Sea Cultivator Alliance? Are there large amounts of cultivators living on the islands here?" The nascent soul state immediately replied. "Qianbei, this place indeed has large amounts of cultivators living here because it's not part of the Deep Sea. There are 3 big powers here, we call them the 3 Seas. Tell me about them," Emo said casually. One of them said, "The number 1 of the 3 Seas is Tonghai Cult. The cult leader Yonglai is said to be Truth Realization State Peak Stage. The second is our Sea Cultivator Alliance. The Alliance leader Wang Tsang is Truth Realization State Tertiary Stage, and we have 2 Truth Realization State Vice Leaders. The third is Tsunghai Palace. The 3 kings there are also Truth Realization State Cultivators." "Then why don't you go South Peace State but instead stay here?" Emo asked. The cultivator bowed. "Qianbei, most of us came from South Peace State, but the resources there are too rare and expensive. With our talent it's hard for us to find a good sect, and even if we do, we won't get many resources. But in the Heartless Sea, it's different. It's dangerous, but we get paid heftily. As long as we work hard finding resources, we can trade them for pills." Emo realized, as long as one worked hard, one could cultivate to the extreme in the Heartless Sea as it had boundless resources. "That's right," Emo subconsciously answered. "Yes, Qianbei, but the only bad things is there are always beast tides attacking. Usually, the 3 seas would work together to stop the beast tides." Emo didn't ask about that anymore and said, "Do you have a map of the Heartless Sea?" The cultivator, dazed but quickly, said, "The Heartless Sea maps are very precious. We can't get them, but if Qianbei wants PME, you can try your luck on the Ling Island. It's the Sea Cultivator Alliance's land, about 300,000 kilometers from here. If Qianbei wants to go, we have a map here." Then he took out a jade slip to Emo. Emo thanked him and gave a few soul essence pills before going. This Qianbei is so young and wealthy. He easily gave a few soul essence pills, the cultivators exclaimed. Emo didn't keep heading off. He came here and realized his preparations weren't sufficient. He didn't expect there were these powers still here a few months into the Heartless Sea. So he planned to go to that Ling Island to scout out where the immortal curl flower appeared in the Heartless Sea and to buy a precise map. It would be best if he could get one that clearly stated where the spirit beast power factions were in the Heartless Sea so he could avoid them. Yemo didn't keep heading off. He came here and realized his preparations weren't sufficient. He didn't expect there were these powers still here a few months into the Heartless Sea. So he planned to go to that Ling Island to scout out where the immortal curl flower appeared in the Heartless Sea and to buy a precise map. It would be best if he could get one that clearly stated where the spirit beast power factions were in the Heartless Sea so he could avoid them. Yemo thought that since Ling Island was just an island, it wouldn't be very big, but when he came to the island, he found that he was greatly mistaken. There was a spirit sense barrier formation, but Yemo couldn't see how big the island was at all. The South Peace City was rather big, but Yemo felt that even a few more of that city wouldn't even be 1/10 of the land here. There was actually such a huge island here in the Heartless Sea. This was far from what Yemo expected. What shook him the most was that the defense formation here reached level 9 peak stage. Even Jiling might not be able to set it up. After entering the island, Yemo felt a powerful spirit sense scan over, clearly checking his power. But that spirit sense didn't stop at all, and he didn't get questioned. There were many cultivators here, but Yemo didn't see any beast cultivators. They were all human cultivators. When Yemo first came in, he found that the prosperity here was no lesser than any great city on land. The spacious streets had all sorts of stores on the sides, and in some open spaces, there were some stalls. This was a huge market, and there were all sorts of cultivators there. There was the smell of the ocean. Yemo scanned with his spirit sense, and most of the materials here were related to the sea. Yemo asked, and a decent level 5 beast core was only a few thousand top-grade spirit stones. This price was very cheap. Yemo wasn't interested in these beast cores here. If there was one level 8 or above, he might ask about it. Yemo came to a rather large shop called Sea Treasure Place. He wanted to buy a large map, but as soon as he walked into this shop, his body went cold, and his power was instantly limited to below golden core state. Yemo was shook and subconsciously was about to release his magic artifact, but he soon calmed down. This probably wasn't targeted at him. Anyone who came in here would have his power restricted. He carefully looked around and saw all the cultivators here acted normal, and he knew he was thinking too much. He broke out in a cold sweat and became more careful. On this island, even a shop was this careful and could set up such terrifying formations that limited others' power. This was too shocking. Even in the South Peace State, he didn't see such a shop. He couldn't set up this power-limiting formation. If this wasn't someone else's shop, Yemo even wanted to study this formation. What formation was this powerful that could even limit one's power? But Yemo knew he couldn't do that. Perhaps as soon as his spirit sense touched the formation, he would be taken away for questioning. Contrary to the South Peace State, there were no attendants nor someone to introduce you to things. You had to go look around yourself and ask. There were tens of cultivators looking inside, and he also looked around. He was planning to ask someone if there were sea maps, but when he saw the variety of forgery materials, he was immediately interested. He needed all sorts of materials to practice forgery. He was a level 6 forgery great master. If he bought some materials and kept practicing forgery, would he be a cultivation artifact forgery grand master when he went back to North Far State? Yemo also saw a strange phenomena. The spirit artifacts here was absurdly expensive, while the materials here were much cheaper than the South Peace State. I really want to learn forgery. If I knew, I wouldn't have to hunt beasts and find materials anymore. A nascent soul state cultivator shook his head and sighed. Yemo heard this and had an idea. He didn't have many spirit stones left, and now he had a better way of collecting materials. Thinking about this, Yemo walked up to the person behind the counter and asked, "Is there a sea map here?" The person was only golden core state and could tell Yemo was stronger than him. He quickly said, "Yes, Qianbei, please wait a moment." Then, he casually took out more than 10 jade slips and said, "Qianbei, our Sea Treasure Place's sea maps are the most complete. This includes everywhere within a few million radius of the Ling Island, and the markings are very clear. Emo took out a few and looked before frowning. I don't want this. I want the map for the entire Heartless Sea. With this, all the cultivators in the shop looked at Emo. Clearly Emo asked for too much. Huh? The person dazed and shook his head. Qianbei, there's no sea map for the Heartless Sea. Even the entire Ling Island won't have it. An auction 10 years ago had one, but it wasn't very complete. It was bought away for 100 million spirit stones. Emo was shook. Even if there was such a map, he wouldn't be able to afford it. Seeing this, the person smiled. Clearly, there were too much ignorant cultivators like Emo. He clearly wanted to cross the Heartless Sea. Many cultivators wanted to do this, but none of them succeeded. Thank you? Emo smiled bitterly. He still wanted to ask about the immortal crow flower, but it seemed he didn't need to, or he would be seen as a queer. Emo didn't have the mood to buy materials here anymore. They were cheap, but he needed large amounts. After leaving the shop, Emo felt his power recover. He felt more threatened by the formation of the shop, but this method was quite useful. If he could master this formation, perhaps he could use it for his shop in Mou City. He didn't continue asking other shops and instead came to the market. He found a spacious place and put up a sign, forgery on the spot. Emo calculated the price for a spirit artifact and the materials needed. The spirit artifact was 5 times the price of the materials. This was quite absurd. In South P State it would be about 1.5 to 2 times the price. So Emo's sign read, forgery of middle grade spirit artifact, price is 2 times the price of the materials. That means if you gave 2 times the materials, you can get 1 spirit artifact. Emo thought he would immediately get a lot of people wanting to ask him for forgery, but he waited for a whole day, and there was not a single customer. Did these people love getting ripped off at shops, or did they not want something from a roadside stall? This wasn't right. Cultivators wouldn't care about that. They only cared about quality. There were quite some cultivators looking at this sign, but they pointed at it and left. He wasted a whole day and didn't get a single customer. Just when he was about to leave, he heard a person ask timidly, "May I ask if you really only take double the price of the materials?" Emo heard this and rejoiced. He looked up and saw 1 man and woman. Both were Golden Core State primary stage. It was the female cultivator speaking. Her hair was slightly yellow and her body was skinny. Emo quickly said, Yes, just double the material price. But you're my first customer. I've decided to forge for free." Emo just needed a start. Huh? The 2 cultivators looked surprised and joyful. They didn't expect that because they were the first customers, they didn't even have to pay. Huh? The 2 cultivators looked surprised and joyful. They didn't expect that because they were the first customers, they didn't even have to pay. The skinny, sallow female cultivator quickly said, Thank you, Qianbei." Then she took out a big block of sea blue coral and said, "I only have this material and I want to make a low-grade flying spirit artifact. If it's not enough, I have a few more level 5 spirit beast materials." It was because she didn't have enough materials, but still wanted a flying magic artifact but didn't have enough payment for the forgery master that she was so overjoyed when she saw Emo's advertisement. A few people who knew the 2 shook their heads. He's clearly a fraud, and they still believed him. I heard someone did this last year. He collected a lot of materials but didn't forge a single spirit artifact. That person was powerful, so the people who lost their material couldn't do anything about it. Emo heard the discussion clearly and frowned. He finally understood why he had no business. Someone already used this move and he was a fraud. The 2 heard people's discussion and immediately became nervous. The male cultivator looked at the sea blue coral in Emo's hands and was very scared Emo would ruin it. Because it was obvious that Emo's power was something they couldn't mess with. If Emo broke their material, they could only suck it up. Emo saw this and smiled calmly. "If you guys believe me, then I will help you forge a flying magic artifact. If you don't believe me, I will give the sea blue coral back to you right now." "No, Qianbei, I trust you. the female cultivator said adamantly. Yemo nodded. Okay, then I'll help you make it now. The sea blue coral was a level 5 extreme grade material. If it was given to Lu Wuhu, Yemo believed Lu Wuhu could even forge a top grade, or even a half extreme grade spirit artifact. Although he couldn't compare with Lu Wuhu, if he could only forge a low grade spirit artifact, he would be too much of a failure. So, Yemo had decided to at least forge a middle grade flying magic artifact. Yemo waved his hand and a deep orange flame appeared in his flame. Yemo's flame immediately shocked the people around. Purple flower fire, it's a rare flame. Can he really forge spirit artifacts? He's not a fraud. I remember that forgery cultivator before didn't forge artifacts in front of anyone. He said he was forging in the restriction, and it eventually failed. Then, the materials were gone. I think this Jian Bei has real capabilities, otherwise he wouldn't do this in front of everyone nor have purple flower fire. It's probably so, this way he wouldn't be able to keep the materials for himself secretly. The sea blue coral soon turned into a blue liquid under the purple flower fire and floated before Yemo. Yemo sent signs into the blue liquid. It was extremely fast, and even the cultivators watching couldn't count how many hand signs Yemo used. It seemed Yemo was inscribing formations while refining the materials. It doesn't seem right. I've seen other people forge. Why doesn't he have a cauldron? Yeah, he at least needs a forgery cauldron, right? This is so strange. The discussions didn't affect Yemo at all. He of course knew forgery needed a forgery cauldron. Usually only low-grade magic artifacts could be forged without forgery cauldron. High-level spirit artifacts, and even cultivation artifacts weren't able to be forged without a forgery cauldron. Three-birth chant was about everything growing and simulating itself. Confining it wasn't the best way. So, he gave up the forgery cauldron and didn't use it to confine the magic artifact. Yemo found that forging this way had a higher requirement for spirit sense based on the level of the magic artifact. Ordinary forgery masters would have damaged the materials already before the magic artifact formed because their spirit sense wasn't enough to control the material. But Yemo had purple eye soul sever, so his spirit sense was powerful. But Yemo discovered that if he didn't use a forgery cauldron, the magic artifact forged would be much stronger than other magic artifacts of the same level. With this experience, Yemo was even more adamant on giving up the forgery cauldron. For a time, he even wanted to give up pill cauldron for pill concoction, but he soon found that giving that up made him only concoct heaven grade level 1 pill at most. And the pills concocted were very potent, they weren't mild at all and would easily damage the cultivator's meridians. It wasn't beneficial for cultivators. Eventually, Yemo's conclusion was that for forgery, it was better to be powerful and dominating, but for pill concoction, the pill cauldron was needed to remove that dominance and make the pills mild. Perhaps once he became an extreme grade pill king, he wouldn't need a pill cauldron but still could concoct mild pills. As more and more people watched, the blue gust shone brighter and brighter. Eventually it was even a little too radiant. Another 7 minutes later, the blue gust buzzed and soon it began to morph. This time was short, and when the spinning stopped, an extremely exquisite blue flying magic artifact appeared in Yemo's hand. Top-grade spirit artifact. It's actually a top-grade spirit artifact? Level 5 sea blue coral was forged into a top-grade spirit artifact. Is this real? The defense formation on it looks like at least level 6. Amazing! Such a powerful flying magic artifact. The discussion grew louder and louder. The crowd grew more and more excited. No one expected that Yemo was not only not a fraud but a forgery master who could concoct top-grade spirit artifacts. He was at least a level 7 spirit artifact forgery master. This made the two cultivators very excited. Their face became red and they also began to worry. They were worried if Yemo would take back the free deal. The price difference between low-grade and top-grade spirit artifacts was huge. A top-grade spirit artifact could buy tens of low-grade spirit artifact. Yemo handed the flying ship magic artifact to the female cultivator and said, "I've made a top-grade spirit artifact, are you happy with it, friend?" The female cultivator took the spirit artifact excitedly, and even her hands were shaking. How could she not be happy with this? If Yimo didn't help her, even if she worked hard for a few decades, she might not be able to get this. Yimo did this to promote his name. Thank you, Qianbei. The male cultivator reacted and quickly thanked. Yimo waved his hand. You're the first to come to my business, you're helping me too. Don't worry. Then Yimo got up and saluted with his fists. Friends, I'm here for forgery. Everyone saw it just then, it's still the same price. 2 sets of materials for a middle-grade spirit artifact or top-grade spirit artifact. Those friends who need it can sign up now. With this, the spectating cultivators all rushed up. Everyone saw Yimo's forgery capabilities, and if they missed this opportunity, they would be idiots. The cultivators near the sea almost all had large amounts of materials. Yimo saw everyone rush up and quickly waved his hand. Everyone line up and prepare your materials. Those who disrupt order and cut in lines will not be attended to. Hearing this, no one dared to cut in lines. Then, Yimo began his work and middle-grade spirit artifacts flew out of his hands like a conveyor belt. Those cultivators who got spirit artifacts were overjoyed and thanked him many times. Using double the price of the materials to get a spirit artifact, no one wouldn't want this. As more and more materials stacked up in Yimo's storage ring, they eventually formed a small mountain. His forgery speed grew faster and faster. At the start, he failed a little on top-grade spirit artifacts, but eventually it became a 100% success rate. 3 days later, Yimo even began to forge extreme-grade spirit artifact, and now he stopped accepting middle-grade spirit artifact orders. This way, the materials he got were higher and higher level. News of this spread out and more cultivators came. Yimo was by himself and clearly couldn't deal with all these orders, so he hung up a new sign. The sign's meaning was clear, because more and more people were coming and Yimo couldn't deal with them all. Those cultivators with sea maps had priority. Those cultivators who knew where high-level spirit herbs appeared also had priority. The sign's meaning was clear, because more and more people were coming and Yimo couldn't deal with them all. Those cultivators with sea maps had priority. Those cultivators who knew where high-level spirit herbs appeared also had priority. He was looking for fruits such as Sha fruit, Truth spirit grass, Soul return fruit, Immortal curl flower. The most important was Immortal curl flower. Those cultivators who saw this list felt their skin began to creep. Other than Soul return fruit, they were all level 9 spirit herbs. But in order for Yimo, the forgery master, to help them, these cultivators still went around looking for sea maps and news of these few legendary spirit herbs. In the next few days, Yimo collected another large stack of materials, but also collected a large stack of sea maps. Yimo looked and they were all fragmented. There was no entire map of the Heartless Sea. As for the spirit herbs he listed, there was not a single piece of news about them. 3 days later, Yimo had a certain success rate for extreme-grade spirit artifacts, but he still had no signs of the Immortal curl flower. Yimo had collected a lot of materials. He sighed and was prepared to leave Ling Island and continue moving forward. Staying here was wasting time. Good skills, good capability. An exclamation caught Yimo's notice, and he saw a middle-aged man standing not far away. He was Cauldron Filling State Level 6 power. This Cauldron Filling State cultivator walked up and saluted with his fists. Friend, I'm the Ling Island's Truth Treasure Alliance Manager Wang Huaning. Yimo quickly got up and saluted with his fists. I'm Solo Cultivator Yimo. Yimo could tell this was a forgery business corporation. Him doing forgery for such a cheap price must have threatened their interests. Luckily he had enough materials and was ready to leave. Wang Huaning smiled. Dao friend Yi, you forged here for half a month. Do you know what would happen if you did this at Tonghai Cult's Tongling Island or at Songhai Palace's Songhai 3 Islands? Yimo cursed. If he wasn't trying to find the Immortal curl flower for Jiling Qianbei, he might have left Ling Island already. Manager Wang, Yimo just came here and didn't know the rules. Don't worry, I will leave the Ling Island immediately. Emo explained. Wang Huaneng laughed. Dao friend Yi, don't worry, our Ling Island is different than Tong Hai Cult and Sang Hai Palace. We're a Sea Cultivator Alliance. You have the capability to be forging here. We're not here to kick you away, we just want to invite you over to talk about some business. Although this Wang Huaneng didn't seem to have any bad intentions, Emo didn't plan to go with him. He believed the Truth Treasure Alliance was probably trying to bring him and have him forge for them. He didn't have the time to do that. Emo saluted with his fists again. Thank you, Manager Wang, but I have other things. I won't go with you, please understand this. Wang Huaneng seemed to know what Emo thought. Dao friend Yi, don't worry, I'm not here to invite you to forge for our Truth Treasure Alliance. As for the spirit herbs you wrote, if you have interest you can come and have a chat with me. Hearing this, Emo immediately said, Okay, Manager Wang, please wait a moment. Emo then finished the last top-grade spirit artifact and put his things away. He saluted with his fists to the cultivators lining up. Friends, thank you for your support, the forgery for this time will end now. Many cultivators made a ruckus, but no matter what, they didn't dare to start trouble with Emo. No one could see through his power, and they knew that Manager Wang was the Truth Treasure Alliance manager, and Cauldron filling state middle stage. Which low-level cultivator could offend him? The cultivators asking Emo for forgery were either Golden Core State or Nascent Soul State. There were rarely a few Hollow Spirit State. So despite not being willing, they could only leave. Emo came with Wang Huaneng to a luxurious commercial building. On the front door there were the 3 shiny golden words, Truth Treasure Alliance. It seemed like the words were about to fly away. Wang Huaneng gave him a sign to go in. Emo frowned, but even so, he walked in without hesitation. After Emo walked in, he breathed easy. He was scared that as soon as he came in, his cultivation level would immediately be suppressed like the Sea Treasure Tower, but this wasn't the case. Wang Huaneng brought Emo to the top floor, and after entering, Emo found that there were already 2 cultivators here. 2 female cultivators, one middle-aged, beautiful woman and another looking to be in her 20s. She was also very beautiful. The middle-aged woman coiled her hair above her head, giving her a rather noble look, and her female cultivator dress fully showcased her beautiful curves. The snowy white neck that was revealed further embellished her beauty. The young girl next to her was tall and had a soft-looking face. Her eyebrows were thin, but Emo was sure they weren't drawn. It was natural. Her skin was also just as snow-white as the middle-aged woman, but she had more youthful look to her. Her hair was very long but also coiled up. However, it was done casually. Emo could smell a faint aroma as soon as he walked in. What made Emo care the most wasn't their looks but their power. The middle-aged woman was Disaster Transformation State Level 2 and the young girl was Hollow Spirit State Level 7. But Emo was sure she wasn't old, at most a few years older than Jingyingli. Such a young age, and she was Hollow Spirit State Tertiary Stage. Dao friend Yi, this is our Alliance leader Sister Meng. She's also the Vice Alliance leader of the Sea Cultivator Alliance. Sister Meng wanted to find you this time. Wang Huaneng introduced her but didn't introduce the young female cultivator. Emo saluted with his fists to the woman and said, Emo greets Jianbei. The middle-aged woman smiled to Emo and said, Master, you please have a seat, just call me Sister Meng, no need to call me Jianbei. I've taken a step ahead of you in cultivation, but in forgery you far surpass me. Yes, Sister Meng, Emo said and then sat down. If they were really going to do harm to him, with his body condensation state power, he wouldn't be able to escape regardless whether he came along or not. The Hollow Spirit State girl saw Emo sit down and quietly poured a cup of spirit tea for Emo and Wang Huaneng before standing next to the middle-aged woman. Master Yi is this young and can already forge extreme-grade spirit artifacts. Your future is indefinite. Sister Meng saw Emo sit down without anxiety and a glimmer of approval flashed across her eyes. Emo could only salute with his fists and say, Wan Bei just wanted to get some materials, but I didn't think much about the consequences. Sister Meng, please. Sister Meng waved her hand and smiled. This is the Sea Cultivator Alliance. Even if you forge here for a year, it's your freedom. Don't worry, you can reach body condensation state at this age and also have this level of forgery. Clearly, you're a prodigy amongst prodigies. Yemo believed that if the Truth Treasure Alliance didn't want him to forge for them, then they probably wanted his forgery means. But Yemo didn't mind, he was still perfecting his means, and it all came from the 3 birth chance simulations. It was a new system, but it was far from complete now, so he didn't mind. However, Sister Ming said, I saw your extreme grade spirit artifact. The forgery means aren't good, but the formation on it is also top grade. If I'm not wrong, you're at least a level 6 formation great master, right? Hearing this, Yemo realized that they called him over not because of his forgery skills but his formation skills. Sister Ming continued to look at Yemo with approval and exclaimed, You're this young in body condensation state tertiary stage, but also a great master in forgery and formations. How many prodigies are there in the world? Yemo thought to himself, I'm a level 8 formation grand master, okay? I've only just begun playing with forgery. Yemo didn't know what the middle-aged woman meant, so he didn't speak. After she applauded Yemo, she said, I heard you requested for news of a few level 9 spirit herbs. Yemo replied, Yes, Wanbei's Qianbei needs a mortal crow flower. I know this sort of spirit herb only occurs in legends, but I still want to ask around. Even if I can't find it, I know I tried. The woman smiled and didn't jeer at Yemo overestimating himself. Immortal crow flower is indeed only in legends, no one has ever found it. I do have news about it, but it's probably fake. Yemo's heart skipped. He quickly got up and bowed to the woman. Please tell me, Sister Ming, if there's anything you need me to do, I will do my best. He knew why this woman only spoke halfway, she was clearly waiting for him to ask. But he couldn't help it, it didn't matter if he suffered a little loss for Jiling Qianbei. The woman nodded and asked Yemo, Are you a level 6 formation great master? Yemo was already level 8 formation grand master, and in a few years he might even reach level 9 formation grand master. But Yemo knew he didn't need to say it, as level 6 formation great master was clearly enough. That woman thought he was level 6 formation great master, and still called him over. Yemo felt the more he could hide the better, so he nodded. I'm rather experienced in level 6 formations. The woman didn't notice Yemo's play on words and believed Yemo admitted he was a level 6 formation great master, so she immediately said happily, It seems that our Sea Cultivator Alliance's luck is good. Then she asked, You have no sea chi on you at all, you must not be from Heartless Sea. Your bones are rather immature and you're very lively, you must not be older than 100, you're probably even only 30 to 40. An ordinary cultivator who can reach body condensation state tertiary stage at this age and be a great master in both formation and forgery, I, Meng Henan, have never seen this before. Yemo was shook. This woman was too powerful. She could even tell his age. The young girl behind her also looked at Yemo in shock. She thought that Yemo would be nearly 100 if not older, but her master said he was only 30 to 40. How was this possible? Seeing Yemo nodded, she said happily, Since you came here, you probably already know the 3 powers of the Heartless Sea Outer Sea? Yemo nodded. The woman continued, The 3 powers are rather collaborative, but that's only when the beast tide comes. The borders of Heartless Sea is big, but the concentration of the top cultivation resources are at a huge island. That island is called Fengchu Island. It has tens of thousands of kilometers of area and has an abundance of high-level spirit herb. This island is the place where the 3 powers gather their high-level spirit herbs, but it can only be entered once every 50 years. The cultivators who can go in are only Foundation establishment state, and the spots are limited. Meng Henan looked at Yemo and said, Master Yi, you probably know what I mean now. If we have more people going in, then we gather more spirit herbs, but if we have less, then there are less spirit herbs. Yemo asked in confusion, Then just send the same number of people as the 3 powers? Meng Henan sighed. If it's split like that, we see Cultivator Alliance would agree the most. that Feng Chu Island has a huge formation protecting it. It's probably left behind by ancient cultivators. Every 50 years, Foundation establishment state cultivators can stay in there for a month. At most 100 cultivators can go in, so if everyone sends in 33, there's still one extra. Just for that one extra, no one is willing to give it up. Yemo was speechless. Just take turns then. Meng Hanan explained. That Tonghai cult leader Yonglani believed Tonghai cult is the strongest, so they should have one extra spot. We in the Tsanghai Palace didn't agree, so eventually, we've decided on having a tournament to decide how many people goes in. The first has 50 spots, second has 30, and third has 20 spots. Yemo realized and looked at her. Sister Meng, you want me to go to the tournament for Sea Cultivator Alliance? Meng Hanan nodded. Yes, our Sea Cultivator Alliance has become last 3 times in a row. We've been getting the least amount of spirit herbs. Even prodigy cultivators need high-level spirit herbs to be produced. Because we have been getting the least spirit herbs, our power has been sliding down. Yemo was thinking that according to what Meng Hanan said, that island would even have level 8 spirit herbs. This was rather substantial. Even the Truth Fall Palace didn't have level 8 spirit herbs. Meng Hanan smiled. With Master Ye's body condensation state, tertiary stage power, and formation great master skills, if you can get second in the tournament for us, we would have 10 extra spots. I can promise you a Kun-filling pill. Yemo didn't care about a Kun-filling pill at all. He was a level 7 pill king. He already had the spirit herbs for Kun-filling pills. Although it was said to be free pill concoction after the pill concoction tournament at Pill City, the big sects weren't stupid enough to really let a level 7 pill king concoct free for them. But Yemo still said, "Thank you, Sister Meng." Meng Hanan saw that Yemo seemed very calm after hearing the Kun-filling pill and was a little surprised. Usually, a body condensation state tertiary stage would be overjoyed hearing about this pill. She didn't think much and said, "This is a tournament between cultivators within 100 years old. The place is a misty island next to the Feng Chu Island called Chu 18 Discs. It has nothing to do with the Feng Chu Island. The island is always hidden in the mist and would only show when the Feng Chu Island is about to show. It also has many formations that are set by ancient cultivators. Each disc's formation level is different. The higher the number, the higher level the formation. Cultivators who go in the disc can be easily killed if they're not careful. Those lucky would be teleported out." Yemo thought of the Pill City Pill King 12 steps. Why did this sound so familiar? Meng Hanan suddenly asked. "You probably came from South Peace State. You must have heard of the Pill King 12 steps." Yemo was shook. He thought Meng Hanan was reading his mind, but when he looked at her he realized that wasn't the case. He breathed easy and nodded. "Sister Meng, I came from South Peace State. I've heard of the 12 Pill King steps." Meng Hanan nodded. It's said that the 12 Pill King steps was a low-grade immortal artifact made by an ancient immortal forger based on the Chu 18 discs. What? Yemo was shook. He had always thought the 12 Pill King steps was a formation set up by a powerful being for the Pill King tournament. Meng Hanan smiled. Probably even a lot of people in Pill City don't know. There's nothing strange about it. Many people thought Chu 18 discs is an immortal artifact, but it's indeed an island. Yemo asked. Sister Meng, you want me to represent the Sea Cultivator Alliance to compete there? Meng Hanan said apologetically. Yes, those cultivators older than 100 years would be teleported away by the 18 discs, sometimes even killed. No matter how strong you are, you can only go in if you're younger than 100 years. You're young enough and you're a formation master. You should be able to get to the 9th disc. If you get there we can get second place for sure. Although your power isn't very high amongst the contestants, your formation skills can cover for that. What? Yemo was shook. He was body condensation state level 7. Were there people at body condensation state level 8 within 100 years? In the South Peace State, even body condensation state within 100 years was extremely rare, much less body condensation state tertiary stage. Meng Hanan saw Yimo's face and immediately knew what he thought, she said. The Chu 18 discs looks like huge round discs. After every disc the formation grows more complicated. It's said that the last disc is a peak that soars into the clouds. Each time we have a tournament, each power can send 10 people. Whoever gets the farthest is the first. If 2 powers both get on the same disc, then it's up to the amount of people behind. Meng Hanan saw Yimo's face and immediately knew what he thought, she said. The Chu 18 discs looks like huge round discs. After every disc the formation grows more complicated. It's said that the last disc is a peak that soars into the clouds. Each time we have a tournament, each power can send 10 people. Whoever gets the farthest is the first. If 2 powers both get on the same disc, then it's up to the amount of people behind. Then Meng Hanan looked at Yimo apologetically. Each time, there are cauldron-filling state cultivators amongst the contestants. Usually 3 on each side. This time, Yimo couldn't hold it and got up. He looked at Meng Hanan in disbelief. Sister Meng, there are cauldron-filling state cultivators within 100 years of age in this place? There are so many too? This is really unbelievable. The girl behind Meng Hanan finally couldn't hold it anymore and burst into laughter. Yimo was too emotional. In a cultivation level as high as South Peace State, 100-year-old body condensation states were extremely rare, and yet in the outer sea of Heartless Sea, there were this many cauldron-filling state cultivators within 100 years. Was the difference really this huge? If there were really such prodigies, the South Peace State 9-star sects would have long been here already. These people were countless times stronger than Yuan Guannan and Tian Alphen. Meng Hanan smiled. Don't worry, Master Yi, let me explain. Although we're the 3 biggest powers here, there are also some beast cultivators. Some don't like battle and does business with humans. As time went on, some beast cultivators who can morph into humans married human cultivators. This way, a few of their offspring would be extremely talented. These people would only need to be fed all sorts of spirit herbs and pills for their cultivation speed to be 10 times faster than ordinary cultivators. Yimo still looked at her suspiciously. If that was the case, then this world would be dominated by these half-bloods. But, Meng Hanan continued, this type of cultivators use up an astounding amount of spirit herbs. Even a sect would be able to raise only a few, and there's one problem. These cultivators would find it very hard to progress after cauldron-filling state peak stage. Less than 1% reach disaster transformation state. As for truth realization state, there's not a single one. Yimo breathed easy, thinking this was normal. Meng Hanan smiled. Master Yi, don't worry, each power is only allowed to bring out 3 of such cultivators. The rest are human cultivators like you. There's indeed danger going into the competition, and if you don't want to go, I won't force you. If you are willing to go, I will tell you where the immortal curl flower is said to have appeared and give you a kun-filling pill after the match. Hearing this, Yimo realized that the wavy-haired girl he met before was probably a half-blood. Yes, I agree. Yimo nodded without hesitation. Then he thought of the wavy-haired girl. She was clearly a member of the Big 3. What if he went to the tournament and was seen by her? Would she look for trouble? He had to speak about this first. Plus, with his experience, it was clear that arrogant girl would look for his trouble. Seeing Yimo agree, Meng Hanan immediately said happily, There's about a week before the tournament. If you have any questions you can ask me. Yimo said straight up, I do have a few questions. When I came to the Ling Island, I offended this girl. I don't know which power she's from. If she comes looking for trouble, please help me, Sister Meng. She probably has a powerful background. Meng Hanan frowned. Can you be more specific? What features does that girl have? Yimo nodded. He had a deep impression of that girl and said, She's very arrogant. Her skin is very white. Her hair is wavy. Her chest is very big. Yimo didn't think much before he said this, but after saying it, he immediately realized his words weren't appropriate. There were 2 women in front of him. People might think he was lustful, as the first thing he noticed was someone's chest. But Yimo knew he really couldn't be blamed. That girl's chest was really too huge. As soon as Yimo said this, That quiet girl looked down and her face blushed. Yemo felt awkward, but Meng Hanan smiled. I think I know who she is. Does she have a chariot flying magic artifact? Yemo patted his head. With Meng Hanan's reminder, he immediately changed the way he spoke. Yes, she also had 2 bodyguards. She chased me for a long time. When I stopped and asked her, she wanted to rob my flying magic artifact. In order to break free, I could only damage her flying chariot. Meng Hanan heard this and looked at Yemo in shock. That young girl is the daughter of the Tong Hai cult leader Yongyuer. Her mother is a beast cultivator, but not from the Heartless Sea. Her 2 bodyguards are both cauldron-filling state. You could escape from them? Meng Hanan was shocked but still a little dubious. Yemo immediately said, I was no match for them, but I used their arrogance and broke their chariot with some means. Meng Hanan's eyes flashed with a sliver of worry and she sighed. Even so, you're quite amazing, but don't worry. You didn't do anything wrong. No matter how much Yonglani is protective of his daughter, he won't do anything to you in the tournament. Yemo breathed easy hearing this. That young girl was clearly not a good person. He didn't want to fight with that stubborn and selfish princesses. Seeing Meng Hanan agree, Yemo asked again. I also want to ask, can you tell me the location of the immortal curl flower now? Meng Hanan smiled. I was going to tell you even if you didn't ask. Then she took out a jade slip. This is a fragmented map of a sea region. I once went there with Martial Brother Wang, but this is in the depth of the Heartless Sea. I almost died there. This map marks the immortal curl flower, but I don't know how long this map has been around for. Even if there was an immortal curl flower, it's probably gone. This is the only thing I have. If... Yemo quickly took the jade slip and said, Thank you, Sister Meng. He had 0 leads on the immortal curl flower, but now there was finally something. Meng Hanan nodded but pointed at the girl behind her. This is my disciple Meng Qi. She's going to the tournament as well. She doesn't know much about formation, so another reason I'm asking you to go is also to take care of her a little. Yemo asked confusedly. Then why not just not go? Meng Hanan smiled. You might not really understand the Chu 18 discs. It's dangerous, but it can improve cultivators' mental state. Those who go usually have reduced heart demons. It can also cleanse the spirit sense, making you reach higher levels faster. Hearing this, Yemo was immediately excited. What he cared about most was spirit sense. If his spirit sense was purified, would his purple eye soul sever be stronger? Meng Hanan said. So if you go there too, it would benefit you as well. Are you unable to leave during the tournament? Yemo asked again. Meng Hanan seemed to know what Yemo thought. Don't worry, since I promised to not let Yongyuer touch you, I can protect you. Once you enter the Chu 18 discs, you can only come if you get killed or fail or wait 18 days when the place closes. Oh, Yemo said disappointedly. He was indeed worried about Yongyuer. Meng Hanan said it nicely, but he had nothing to do with the Sea Cultivator Alliance. They were just doing a deal. Plus the cult leader of Tong Hai cult was Truth Realization State Peak Stage, the strongest person in the Outer Sea. Meanwhile Meng Hanan was only Disaster Transformation State Primary Stage. The difference was huge. I heard that if you reach the top of the last disc, you can leave whenever you want. But from the ancient times till now, no one seems to have been able to reach there. The best the 3 powers have accomplished was the 12th disc, Meng Hanan said. After bidding Meng Hanan farewell, Yemo could only be arranged to stay at Truth Treasure Alliance's place. He was still digesting the news Meng Hanan gave him. The 12 Pill King Steps was just an immortal artifact. He didn't expect cultivators from the cultivation realm could forge immortal artifacts. How powerful must that forgery master be? After bidding Meng Hanan farewell, Yemo could only be arranged to stay at Truth Treasure Alliance's place. He was still digesting the news Meng Hanan gave him. The 12 Pill King Steps was just an immortal artifact. He didn't expect cultivators from the cultivation realm could forge immortal artifacts. How powerful must that forgery master be? But he wasn't bad either. In such a short time, he could already forge extreme-grade spirit artifacts. The only concern was that he didn't really trust Meng Hanan's promise. Yonglani won't do anything to you in the tournament. What about afterwards? It was not that he didn't trust this woman's character, but he didn't trust her strength. In the cultivation realm, power was everything. If that obnoxious girl wanted trouble with him, then as long as the alliance leader of the Sea Cultivator Alliance agrees, Meng Henan wouldn't be able to protect him for sure. The reason Meng Henan gave the jade slip to Yemo straight away was that she wasn't afraid Yemo would run off. Yemo never thought of running anyway. Plus, he knew he wouldn't be able to run away even if he wanted to. That's why he asked Meng Henan if he could leave in Chu 18 discs. Meng Henan said that no one has ever reached the top of the 18 discs, and the most anyone has ever reached was 12. He wouldn't be teleported out unless he reached the 18th disc. But could he reach the top? If he could, he wouldn't let Meng Henan be responsible for his safety. His greatest assurance was his level 8 formation skills. No one is allowed to know this. He believed that even if there would be a level 8 formation grandmaster within 100 years, it would be extremely rare. Meng Henan said that formation skills were more important than power in the Chu 18 discs. Perhaps he could use his formation skills to reach the 18th disc. Then, he would be able to leave whenever he wanted. Thinking about this, Yemo felt a little reassured. Just when he wanted to look at the jade slip about Immortal Curl Flower, his spirit sense noticed someone at the door. It was that hollow spirit state girl, Meng Qi. Yemo opened the restriction before she knocked and saluted with his fists. "Martial Sister Meng, do you have any business with me?" Meng Qi also bowed to Yemo and said uneasily. "Meng Qi greets Martial Brother Yi. I'll be relying on your help for the Chu 18 discs later." Her voice was soft like a bird singing. Yemo couldn't help think. Both her and the Yongyuer who stopped him were extremely beautiful, but why was the difference this huge? Yemo smiled and put away the jade slip. "I'll need to thank Sister Meng for helping me get the Immortal Curl Flower's location." Meng Qi smiled. She looked at the restriction on the door but didn't speak. Yemo thought and immediately shut the restriction before asking, "Martial Sister Meng, do you need to say something? Come in and have a seat first." Meng Qi saw this and sighed. "Martial Brother Yi, if you offended Yongyuer, then I suggest you not to participate in the Chu 18 discs. She won't let you go. It's useless even if my master helps. The cult lord of Tonghai cult adores Yongyuer extremely. He won't do anything to you before the competition, but he will look for your trouble after it and even kill you for sure. See Cultivator Alliance Marshal Uncle Wang won't get on Yonglani's bad side for you. Plus, you damaged Yongyuer's favorite flying cart." Yemo's heart sunk. He knew that Yongyuer was not easy to deal with, but he didn't understand why Meng Henan used him, and Meng Qi came to tell him this. He didn't know Meng Qi at all. Meng Qi continued. "A foreign cauldron-filling state cultivator offended Yongyuer, but to be honest he just called her spoiled, and then in the end, the cultivator fled to the Tsunghai 3 Islands, but he was still caught by the cult leader and even his soul was burned in the end." Yemo took a cold breath in. This was too cruel, and that cultivator only called her spoiled. What was she going to do to him for damaging her chariot? "Why are you helping me?" Yemo asked. "Because I have a way for you to escape, and if you want I can help you, but there's one condition," Meng Qi said. "Tell me about your condition," Yemo said. Meng Qi suddenly waved her hand and set up a few more restrictions, but they were too low level. Yemo smiled. "Don't worry, no one will know about what's happening in here. Don't forget, I'm a formation master." Hearing this, Meng Qi blushed. She soon recovered and bit her lips before saying, "I'm not from Luoyu continent nor Ling Island. 10 years ago, I came to a barren island in the Heartless Sea and my master passed by and saved me. In order to thank her, I stayed with her. Time went on and I got used to here, so I didn't think of leaving." Hearing this, Yemo wasn't too shocked. He came from Earth too. She said she didn't leave, meaning that she had a way to leave. Meng Qi was not too used to Yemo's unsurprised reaction, but she recovered quickly and continued. "But last year, the Tonghai Sect's young master Yong Wuzi came to Ling Island and saw me. He immediately proposed to me with my master and Alliance leader Wang. My master had no ability to reject, and the Alliance leader didn't say anything." Emo finally asked with surprise. Yongyuer has a brother? If she was already this bad, wouldn't her brother be worse? Mengqi said pitifully. You can tell who that Yongwuzi is from his sister. He's a demon. He raped his father's concubine, but after his father knew, not only did he not blame him, he gave his concubine to him instead. Yet, he said it wasn't exciting anymore and killed her. Emo was dumbfounded. What was this? There's a space-breaking rune hidden in my dantian, but I don't have an opportunity to activate it. It must be activated in a place with very dense spirit chi, then I can go back to where I came from. I was planning to find this place when my power was high enough, but I can't wait till that moment. After the Chu 18 discs, I will be sent to the Tonghai sect. Emo fell silent, and seeing this, Mengqi said desperately, I can use my identity to take you out of the formation on the island. Emo suddenly asked, How do you know I can take you to run away? I'm only body condensation state power. How many powerful beings are on Ling Island? If that really works, you can do it yourself and run. Mengqi stared at Emo and said, I can't run very far, but you're different. You have an extreme grade cultivation artifact, a flying magic artifact. Without it, there's no way Yongyuer's flying cart couldn't chase up to you. Emo was shook, her mind was so calculated. Emo nodded. Martial Sister Ming, you're very meticulous, but I'm sure you've thought things too simply. I don't need to try to know you won't be able to take me out of the island. Even you won't be able to leave the island at all. If you don't believe me, you can try. Even if you don't watch me, that Wang Tsung would. I don't suggest you try because it would make things worse for you. Huh? Mengqi heard this and dazed for a moment before slumping down. She knew this but just didn't want to face reality. Emo sneered and continued. Even coming here, you're probably being watched. Emo sneered and continued. Even coming here, you're probably being watched. Mengqi had calmed down. She knew Emo was saying the truth. She got up and her face recovered but just seemed more numb. Thank you, Martial Brother Yi, for helping me realize this. Mengqi will be leaving. Mengqi said dejectedly. Emo smiled and waved his hand. How far from the Chu 18 discs would the cultivator older than 100 years be affected? Mengqi didn't know what this meant, but she still replied. The 18 discs are in the center of the island. I heard that during every tournament, the masters of the three powers would be at the border of the island. That's tens of kilometers from the outermost disc. If they get closer, they would be affected. They stand at the border of the island because there's a huge white tablet there that can record the progress of the tournament. Can the cultivator's spirit sense go inside the Chu 18 discs? Emo asked. This was the most important part to his plan. If the 18 discs can't barricade spirit sense, then he wouldn't be able to get away. Mengqi looked at Emo in confusion. No, those cultivators who go into the 18 discs would disappear from the spirit sense of the people outside. If the contestant passes the first disc, there would be a stone tablet at the entrance to the second disc. You just have to mark your name on there, and then the huge white stone tablet at the border of the island would show your name and your progress. Emo rejoiced and asked, Then what if I don't mark my name, or if some contestant dies during the competition? Mengqi immediately said, The stone tablet won't record your progress if you don't mark your name, but that doesn't affect the contestants. Once you get teleported out, your name would turn blue. If you die, your name would turn red and it would stop at the disc you were before you died. Emo breathed easy. This was good then. Now he only needed to worry a bit if he could reach the top. Emo nodded. Don't worry, wait till the day of the competition. I might have a way to help you. Really? Mengqi's eyes lit up immediately. Emo smiled. I'm not confident, but you know my predicament. It's not much different from yours. Go back first. It's not good for you to stay here too long. Emo said to her. If people saw him with Mengqi for too long, they might start watching him too. Mengqi regained her composure after knowing the possibility of escape, so she bowed to Emo and quickly left Emo's place. In the next few days, Emo didn't go out. He started to study formations in his room. He was sure that the formations in the Chu 18 discs wouldn't be simple and would be over level 8 formations, but he could only hope they weren't beyond level 9 formations. Yemo knew he wasn't able to improve his formation skills very much in a few days, but it would still help a little. 6 days passed quickly and no one came to find Yemo during this time, not even Meng Qi. On the last day, Yemo suddenly thought of something that could happen and immediately broke into a cold sweat. Without hesitation, he took out an empty storage ring and inscribed more than 10 explosion formations on it before putting a few top-grade restrictions and then putting it on his finger. Then he breathed easy. The second day, Yemo just opened his door and Wang Huaneng came. Yemo knew it was the time for the competition, so he saluted with his fists. "Manager Wang, is it almost time for the competition?" Wang Huaneng nodded. "Yes, Marshal Brother, you please come with me." Yemo nodded and smiled. "Okay, please lead the way, Marshal Brother Wang." Wang Huaneng nodded and said as they walked, "Marshal Brother Yi, I really admire your forgery skills. Although I can also forge low-grade cultivation artifacts, I feel your forgery means are much stronger than mine." Yemo smiled. He didn't know what this guy meant, so he said humbly, "You're too polite, Marshal Brother Wang." Wang Huaneng said seriously, "I'm not being polite. I truly admire your forgery skills. I didn't dare to disturb Marshal Brother Yi these few days due to Sister Ming's orders, but after the tournament, we must have some discussions." Yemo laughed. "Easy, easy." He didn't believe at all that Wang Huaneng didn't know how powerful Yongyue was. If he knew and he still said this, it meant he was trying to keep him here. Yemo didn't mind. He just needed Meng Henan to be able to send him safely into the Chu 18 discs. With Yongyue's attitude, she would definitely look for trouble inside the Chu 18 disc islands. There was no way she wouldn't go to an event like this. Yemo and Wang Huaneng soon came to the square of the Sea Cultivator Alliance. There was a huge teleportation formation at the border. It was filled with cultivators. Yemo just looked casually and knew there were at least 3 truth realization state cultivators and nearly 10 disaster transformation state cultivators. This was stronger than an ordinary 9-star sect. This was just their surface power as well. Yemo saw Meng Henan and Meng Qi immediately. Meng Qi was standing quietly next to Meng Henan just like at the start. Meng Henan immediately smiled to Yemo and said to a middle-aged man next to her, "This is the cultivator I recommended. He's Yemo, he's very good. He's not old, but he's already body condensation state tertiary stage and a level 6 formation great master." The male cultivator nodded and looked at Yemo, making Yemo feel uncomfortable. Meng Henan then waved to Yemo. "Yemo, this is our Sea Cultivator Alliance's alliance leader, Wang Tsung, come here." Wang Tsung had a long face. His chin was sunken, but his power was astounding. Yemo could tell this guy was a truth realization state level 7 cultivator. After Yemo greeted him, Wang Tsung nodded. Not bad, not bad. You're already a level 6 formation great master at this age. Your forgery is also this good, your future is boundless. Do well and our Sea Cultivator Alliance won't mistreat you." Yemo quickly saluted with his fists. "Thank you, Alliance Leader Wang." Then Wang Tsung said to the rest of the people, "We've been last 3 times in a row. I hope the people you have chosen won't disappoint me again." Then he looked at the 8 cultivators at the teleportation formation. "We'll be relying on you guys this time. As long as you can get a better spot than last time, everyone can make a request. Even if you want a top-grade cultivation artifact, I can get one for you. Other than this, the participants will be heavily supported by our Sea Cultivator Alliance." "Yes, Alliance Leader, we will try our best," they said together. "Great." One Nag nodded and waved his hand. "Go to Chu 18 discs now." Yemo followed behind Meng Henan and went into the teleportation formation. This teleportation formation was huge and 100 people didn't seem squished. As the spirit stones were embedded into the teleportation formation ring, the teleportation formation lit up with white light and the people were teleported away. Yemo thought there would only be 100 or so people in the teleportation formation, and so there would be at most 500 people at the 18 discs. But when he arrived, he knew how wrong he was. This place was filled with cultivators, about 20,000 of them. Wang Huaning saw this and explained. Those cultivators spectating arrived here more than 10 days ago. It's no wonder that there are so many here. But Yemo didn't have the mood to reply to Wang Huaning as he saw that big-chested, wavy-haired Yongyuer, and she noticed him immediately as well. Chapter 1191, I Will Be Back. Chapter 1191, I Will Be Back. Yongyuer was dazed the moment she saw Yemo, but she immediately exploded and pointed her finger at Yemo, shrieking. It's you dared to come here! I'm going to kill him! Kill him! Her face was already turned red and her big balloons shook up and down, showing how agitated she was. Her look was very seductive, but no male cultivator dared to look at her chest. What's going on? A tall but soft-looking man next her asked worriedly. Yongyuer took in breath and pointed at Yemo. He's that bastard that hacked my chariot. If I didn't move away fast, he would have hacked me. I'm going to kill this bastard. His storage ring will be compensation. That tall yet soft-looking man's face sunk immediately, and stared at Yemo coldly. A mere body condensation state insect dares to touch my daughter. You're asking to die. The cultivators around felt an intense killing intent. Yemo's heart sunk. This man was truth realization state peak stage, and his killing intent was much stronger than Lu Wuhu's. Clearly, he was Yongyuer's father, Tong Hai Sect's leader. Seeing his fury, Yemo suspected whether he would even get the chance of going into the Chu 18 discs. Meng Qi was more worried than Yemo and looked at her master, desperately hoping she would say something. Luckily, Meng Hanan didn't disappoint her. Before Yonglani attacked, she bowed to him and said, Hanan, greet cult leader Yong. Yemo will be representing us for the tournament. If he didn't recognize Princess Yue before and offended her, Hanan will be apologizing for him. Please forgive him this time on account of the Sea Cultivator Alliance. Yonglani heard this and his face went cold while sneering. I will kill him for sure, even if he's the overlord of the Heartless Sea, for offending my daughter. If you dare to stop me, then don't blame me. Yemo's heart sunk again. He already tried to underestimate Meng Hanan, but he still overestimated her. Martial brother Wang. Meng Hanan looked at Wang Tsung. Wang Tsung looked coldly at Yemo and was about to speak. His eyes were showing that he wanted to kill Yemo himself. There was nothing about Yemo's boundless future and how the Sea Cultivator Alliance won't mistreat him. Yemo didn't need to wait for Wang Tsung to say something to know that he wasn't going to help for him. He might even say that he wasn't from the Sea Cultivator Alliance. Before Wang Tsung said anything, Yemo got up and saluted with his fists to Yonglani. Cult leader Yong, before it was because Wan Bei didn't know it was your princess, so I offended her. But this time I'm representing the Sea Cultivator Alliance. If you kill me in front of all these people, the Sea Cultivator Alliance would have no face at all. Who would dare to come to the Sea Cultivator Alliance? Haha. Yonglani laughed, but his eyes were cold. I'm going to kill you now, so what? This made Wang Tseng's face look bad, but he still didn't say anything. Yemo said again. It's right that cult leader wants me dead because I offended Princess Yue, but I'm someone with gratitude. Sea Cultivator Alliance leader Wang gave me a lot of help. I want to help him compete in this tournament first. After the tournament, you can do whatever you like. Wang Tseng's face was cold, but he was furious. He never even saw Yemo before today, yet this guy said he owed him in front of so many people. Yemo came to the tournament to pay his gratitude, and if he didn't anything, then it would indeed be detrimental to the Sea Cultivator Alliance. But he didn't want any trouble with Yonglani over Yemo, this insect. Humph, I'm going to rip your tendons and burn your soul. You think you can escape by going to the tournament? I'll tell you now, if you fail you will be teleported out immediately. But I want you dead now, Yongyuer said. Yemo said calmly. That's fine. As long as I pay back Alliance leader Wang's great help, you can do whatever you want to me. Yemo's words already made the cultivators around here discuss quietly. Wang Tseng knew he had to speak, so he saluted with his fists to Yonglani. "Sigh, brother Yong, I saw wrong. I didn't expect to help someone like this. I wouldn't have helped him if I knew earlier. Since this guy offended Princess Yue, he deserves to die. Brother Yong, you can do whatever you want. I won't mind." Yemo heard this and his heart went even colder. He didn't expect this Wang Tseng was this cowardly. He already said all that, and yet Wang Tseng still wants to suck up to Yonglani. "Give me your storage ring first." Yongyue glared at Yemo. Yemo heard this and rejoiced. He gave his storage ring over immediately and said, "I offended Princess Yue. I never planned to continue living. Please take me storage ring." Then he saluted to Yonglani. "If cult leader doesn't believe me, you can kill me now." Yemo then saluted with his fists to Wang Tseng. "Alliance leader Wang, no matter what, my gratitude to you won't change. If cult leader Yong wants to kill me now, please don't help me. Although it's a shame I won't be able to compete for the Sea Cultivator Alliance, I'm still forever grateful to you." Wang Tseng's face looked worse. Clearly Yemo wanted him to lose face in front of the Sea Cultivator Alliance. Even so, he still didn't help Yemo at all. But Yemo was thinking about how he would escape if Yonglani really attacked. The 5-element mobility was powerful, but would he have a chance with this truth realization state cultivator like Yonglani? But there was no way he was just going to let them kill him. Even if he was going to die, he would bring one with him. Yemo felt helpless again. It was indeed not reliable to rely on someone else. Meng Henan said things nicely, but she wasn't able to help at all. Yonglani saw that Yongyue was just thinking about how to open Yemo's storage ring and scanned the bleak-faced Wang Tseng before saying, "You won't have a way to escape anyways. No matter how much you gloat, you just want to live a little longer. I'll give Alliance leader Wang some face today and let you live a little longer. Father, he won't have a while." Yongyue looked up with her pretty face and said to a huge man nearly 2 meters tall, "Brother, I'll leave it to you. You won't fail to catch a guy without a storage ring, right?" The man sneered. "Sister, don't worry, I can crush trash like him with a finger." Yemo noticed this man was cauldron filling state level 3 and his lips were extremely thick and his face was dark. So this was Yong Wuzi. No wonder Meng Qi was that scared. This guy was clearly not someone good. He really wondered how the pretty-faced Yonglani gave birth to this horrifying guy. Meng Qi breathed easy hearing that Yemo would be spared for now. But then her heart skipped again. She didn't expect Yong Wuzi to be participating in the Chu 18 discs. She guessed that Yemo's escape way might have something to do with the Chu 18 discs, but with Yong Wuzi, they might not even be able to survive inside. "Chu 18 discs formation has opened. All contestants please enter the first disc," the announcer said. Yemo was excited. As long as he went in the Chu 18 discs, he would have a way to get away. If he wasn't able to get to the 18th disc, he would go in the Golden Page world. As for Meng Qi, if he couldn't help himself, how could he help her? He would at most kill Yong Wuzi for her. Yemo walked in with a lowered head. Everyone probably thought he was sighing about his miserable fate. Meng Henan seemed to know she owed Yemo and didn't say anything. Her face was full of guilt. Yong Wuzi snarled at Yemo. "You will soon know you shouldn't have come inside, you will regret." Then Yong Wuzi walked in. Yemo stood at the door and turned back before saying to Yonglani, "Cult leader Yong, I will be back." Chapter 1192, Taking on Cauldron Filling State. Chapter 1192, Taking on Cauldron Filling State. Everyone thought Yemo was sucking up to Yonglani. Even Yonglani himself believed so too, but he sneered in contempt. No matter how much Yemo sucked up to him, he would kill Yemo. No one could offend his daughter. He probably wouldn't even have the chance to kill Yemo himself. Only his essence spirit would come out of the Chu 18 discs. No one understood what Yemo meant except for himself. He wasn't going to come back now. He would come back to kill Yonglani, come back to kill Yongyue, and as for Yong Wuzi, he wasn't going to let him leave the Chu 18 discs. When he was body condensation state middle stage, he could take on cauldron filling state level 2. Now that he was body condensation state tertiary stage, How could he be scared of a Yongwuzi? After Emo followed the 29 people into the 18 discs, he immediately felt the surroundings go dark. When he released his spirit sense out, he couldn't see anyone outside anymore. There was soft, watery grass under his feet. Emo was shocked. This restriction was too powerful. This formation was too powerful. It was just one step, but the difference was huge. Haha! There was a maniacal laughter. But soon, people knew why there was laughter. It was Yongwuzi. He stared at Emo, clearly intending to kill him. Emo stared at him and didn't talk. The other people saw this and quickly left as though not wanting to relate to Emo. Even the Sea Cultivator Alliance's cultivators didn't dare to stay with Emo. Some cultivators who wanted to invite Mengqi to join them quickly gave up on the idea, seeing the ferocious-looking Yongwuzi. After Yongwuzi finished laughing, his face formed a seemingly soft look that appeared ferocious to others. Just when Emo was wondering why this guy made this disgusting face, Yongwuzi said to Mengqi, "Chi-Chi, let's form a team. I will take you to the 9th disc for sure." Mengqi's eyes showed disgust. She didn't even look at Yongwuzi as she walked up to Emo and said, "I will be going with Martial Brother Yi. You can group with your Tong High sex people. I have nothing to do with you, not before nor in the future." "Haha, Martial Brother Yi, you will soon find that you have no Martial Brother Yi." Yongwuzi glared at the cultivators who still hadn't left. They left quickly without daring to say a thing. Mengqi released a flying sword and then another extreme-grade spirit artifact longsword, giving the sword to Emo. "Take this first, even if you're no match, we can stab him a few times." She clearly thought Emo had no storage ring and thus no magic artifact. Emo waved his hand. "Stay back, leave this animal to me." Emo took a step forward and a huge cauldron appeared before his head. At the same time, Zisu was also released. "How do you still have this cauldron? Wasn't your storage ring taken away?" Yongwuzi clearly knew of the octagonal cauldron, meaning that Yongyue already told him about it. He also heard that Emo could take on cauldron-filling state level 2 air Wu and have the advantage. He didn't believe it at the time. How could a body condensation state fight a cauldron-filling state cultivator? Body condensation state cultivators' cultivation essence had just solidified. They were a far cry from cauldron-filling state cultivators who knew a little about domains. Yongwuzi grew calm and said, "Even if your magic artifacts are here, I can kill you easily." Emo didn't waste time talking at all. He was going to kill Yongwuzi for sure. "Humph." Yongwuzi sneered and a huge spiked club was released. It immediately shot out tens of dark rays while expanding. But soon the dark rays and the club stopped expanding. You have domain, how is that possible?" Yongwuzi was shook. Once a cultivator reached hollow spirit state, he would have essence spirit and his spirit sense would grow many folds. Once cultivator reached body condensation state, his cultivation essence would solidify and thus his cultivation essence would also grow many folds. Compared to hollow spirit state, this was many more times stronger. Some prodigies would even learn the primary stage of domains, which was fields. Not all body condensation state would know fields. Fields weren't domains, it was a far cry from that, but it was the fetus of domain. Only once a cultivator learned fields would he be able to progress that into a domains. No matter how prodigious the cultivator was, he would need to have some understanding of domains to reach cauldron-filling state. Only once you reached cauldron-filling state would a cultivator first begin to control the world around him. Without domains, you couldn't control space and everything. This is why only truth realization state cultivators could form the cultivation essence giant hand and easily grab low-level cultivators. They knew the concept of domains. Everything under the cultivation essence giant hand was their domain. No one can break free, only a master who also understood domains could fight with them. Of course, some cultivators had mastered the complete domain in disaster transformation state, and those cultivators weren't much weaker than truth realization state cultivators. They might even be able to kill people above their level. From cauldron-filling state to truth realization state, it was a progress of perfecting your domain and learning the laws of the world. A few truth realization state powerful beings would learn a higher level of domain, and that was realms. The chances of that was not even 1 in a billion. The reason Yongwuzi was so shocked was that Yemo was only body condensation state, yet he surpassed fields and began to form his domain. How could he not be shocked? Mengqi also looked in disbelief. A body condensation state cultivator skipped fields and went straight into domains. This was too shocking. But clearly, Yongwuzi was stronger than that. Air Wu and ripples started to form around his body that soon clashed with the purple sword rays. The purple sword rays were instantly crippled, and the club regained its speed as it struck the cauldron. Yemo was sent flying tens of meters back. Yongwuzi grabbed his club and smirked at Yemo. So what if you formed the basis for your domain? A mere body condensation state tertiary stage. I can kill you like a chicken. Mengqi saw the blood on the corner of Yemo's mouth and quickly went to help him. Martial brother Yi, are you alright? If Yemo died, her fate would be tragic too. Yemo waved his hand. I'm fine, but this animal is much stronger than that guy before. He was body condensation state level 6 when he fought Air Wu and injured him with one strike despite Air Wu underestimating him. However, he was body condensation state level 7 now, and yet he was injured after clashing with Yongwuzi. That wave might be the domain Yongwuzi was talking about. Yemo took a step forward and hacked out with Zisu. When fighting against someone like Yongwuzi, you couldn't retreat, or you would lose your momentum. When Zisu first hacked out, it was a meter-long purple ray, but when it came above Yongwuzi's head it was nearly 10 meters. It didn't stop at all and went even longer while emitted purple sword rays from the side. Illusion Cloud Hua Mountain Strike. This was the first time Yemo used Illusion Cloud Hua Mountain with full power. Yongwuzi's face finally looked serious. He felt the threat of this strike. He yelled and his club turned into a black rain. Mengqi saw the long purple sword ray and immediately was immersed in it. It was so pretty, she had the feeling that she wanted to jump in to feel that purple beauty. She even felt the purple ray was calling her to go in. Mengqi saw the long purple sword ray and immediately was immersed in it. It was so pretty, she had the feeling that she wanted to jump in to feel that purple beauty. She even felt the purple ray was calling her to go in. Mengqi subconsciously moved a step and then she saw the purple ray emit countless purple sword rays. So pretty. She finally moved but soon shivered at the killing intent. She woke up and saw the dense clutter of dark rays wanting to stop the purple ray. Mengqi finally woke up and wiped the sweat from her forehead. She took many steps back and felt more shocked at Yemo's strike. She didn't even have the ability to resist that strike. Meanwhile, Yongwuzi was able to release his magic artifact and block it. Yongwuzi was indeed powerful, and the stories of him being able to kill people above his level must not be fake. Zisu and the club clashed together, creating a heaven-shocking sound. Waves of powerful cultivation essence struck Yemo's octagonal cauldron. The dark rays that were densely cluttered also struck the octagonal cauldron. Even with Yemo's powerful cultivation essence, he couldn't help spitting blood. The purple ray was shrinking rapidly and even the purple sword rays were being emitted slower. They weren't as vibrant as before. Crack! There was another huge explosion. Yemo knew that although Yongwuzi stopped the sword power of his Hua Mountain strike, he wasn't able to stop Zisu. Zisu had shrunk back down and passed through Yongwuzi's chest with a bloody mist. Yongwuzi flew back 100 meters and looked at the broken club in disbelief. When he looked at Yemo again, there was fear in his eyes. This body condensation state was strong to this extent. Yemo didn't intend to stop at all. He didn't even wipe the blood from his lips as he hacked out again. Yongwuzi saw that Yemo ignored him and was furious. A dark halo appeared above his head and he charged forward too like Yemo while releasing his club. Yemo saw clearly that the dark halo was actually a bed. This guy's defense magic artifact was actually a big bed. This was the first time Yemo had seen this. With a clank, Yongwuzi shook and his bed was stopped. Yongwuzi was shocked. Yemo's attack could affect his control of his magic artifact and make it stop. This was too terrifying. He didn't dare to conserve any strength, and used all his cultivation essence on his club as he smashed out. He regretted not weighing his armor. Yemo's spirit sense sword was blocked by the defense magic artifact. Yemo's spirit sense was pained. That bed defense magic artifact was too strange, even his purple eye soul sever was blocked. Yemo didn't dare to be careless and let out Shadowless. Rumble Zisu and the club clashed together again. Purple rays splashed everywhere, but neither of them retreated. Rumble Rumble, the two's magic artifacts clashed together again and again, but no one changed their method of attack. Many huge craters have formed at the battle scene, but the two didn't feel it at all. Mengqi looked in shock. She didn't know why Yemo was fighting Yongwuzi head-on. If Yemo used that strike again, he would be able to heavily injure Yongwuzi. But Yemo closed his eyes. He had many means to suppress Yongwuzi, but whether it was Hua Mountain Strike, Formation Kill Strike, or even Lightning Sword, he didn't use a single one. Yongwuzi looked ferocious, but there was fear in his heart. Although he wasn't able to kill him alone, only beat him, with Shadowless he would be able to kill Yongwuzi without a problem. The reason he didn't kill Yongwuzi was because he wanted to feel the illusion Cloud's 7th strike. Yongwuzi was good practice. He felt his strike was getting clearer and clearer while being easier and easier. Yongwuzi was getting more and more shocked. Usually in a fight like this, he could easily beat cultivators higher level than him, but facing Yemo he was scared. He felt his momentum was getting weaker and weaker, but Yemo's was getting stronger and stronger until eventually he wouldn't be able to block it at all. When Zisu hacked off another pile of spikes on the club, Yongwuzi wanted to run, but Yemo knew what Yongwuzi was thinking. Zisu didn't hack out the repetitive strikes again. Instead, there was a veil of purple. It was like Hua Mountain Strike but different. Hua Mountain Strike was a long ray, but this strike was an increasing huge purple veil. Yongwuzi was swept by that purple veil and felt he was sinking into a mud pit. Domain, this is the real domain, you've actually learned domains. Yongwuzi yelled out in shock. He finally realized why Yemo fought with him monotonously. It was to use him to practice his domain. Yongwuzi couldn't think about other things. He spat out a few mouthfuls of essence blood and took out 2 runes. He waved his hand and the runes exploded. In that instant, the purple veil splashed away like fireworks. Yongwuzi felt the pressure around him ease and he breathed easy. He took away his magic artifact and wanted to run. He was truly scared now. His cultivation level was higher than Yemo, but it was Yemo using domains. Even if Yemo was same cultivation level as him and did this, he wouldn't feel this bad. How could Yemo let him get away? He had begun to control domains. This strike wasn't finished yet, but it was a fundamental change to him. The instant Yongwuzi was going to run, Shadowless chased up. The mobility rune wasn't even activated yet, and Yongwuzi felt a pause. Before he could move, a long purple ray reached over from the ends of heaven. Yongwuzi looked at this in despair and murmured, "Purple ray again!" Splurge blood splashed everywhere, and Yongwuzi was cut in half. A essence spirit seeped out cursing. "My father won't let you go!" Yemo didn't seem to hear this and waved his hand. A black lightning arc struck out, and that essence spirit was turned to dust. In his death, Yongwuzi finally realized that Yemo didn't even use his full power. If Yemo used this lightning sword at the start, he might have long been killed. After Yemo killed Yongwuzi, he took back Shadowless and ate a few pills before sitting down to recover. Yemo paid a price too. His spirit sense was lightly injured when attacking that bed and he received internal injuries after those head-on clashes. Seeing Yemo start to recover, Mengqi looked dazedly at the dead Yongwuzi in disbelief. Yemo killed Cauldron filling state level 3 Yongwuzi with body condensation state level 7 power. Yongwuzi could be said to be the strongest one in here, yet Yemo could even kill him. This meant that no one could pose a threat to Yemo inside the Chu 18 discs. Mengqi looked at Yemo and realized everyone, including the cult leader and Wang Tsang, had underestimated Yemo. He was too mysterious. Yemo didn't have a storage ring, but his magic artifact flew out. This meant he was prepared to hand out his storage ring and also meant that his extreme-grade cultivation artifact was still here. Mengqi breathed easy after Yong Wuzi was killed. It was like a nightmare was gone. She finally realized why Yemo said to Yonglani, "I will be back." He wasn't sucking up to him, he was coming back to kill him. After a while, Yemo got up and took Yong Wuzi's storage ring before burning his body. He nodded to Mengqi and said, "Let's go to the second disc." After a while, Yemo got up and took Yong Wuzi's storage ring before burning his body. He nodded to Mengqi and said, "Let's go to the second disc." Mengqi followed Yemo and the two walked rapidly. The first disc was somewhat lands and some swamps. A few low-level spirit beasts appeared once in a while that ran off without them needing to do anything. Soon, the two found some simple trap and kill formations. They were hidden well, but their level was too low. Even a foundation establishment state who didn't understand formations would be safe entering such formation. These were all level 1 and level 2 formations. I heard that the first and second disc have formations below level 3. So, the cultivators who didn't die at the first disc all go to second disc for sure, Mengqi explained. At the fourth and fifth discs, there are level 4 formations, level 6 and level 7 are said to be level 5 formations. This hard? Yemo heard this and stopped. Mengqi looked at Yemo. Martial brother Yi, level 7 and below I'm confident to pass, it's not very hard? Yemo frowned for a while and said, I'm not talking about the 7th disc, I mean according to your words, then wouldn't the 18th disc be beyond a level 9 formation? Mengqi looked at Yemo in shock and murmured after a while. You want to get on the 18th disc and run away? Yemo smiled. Otherwise how am I going to escape? Mengqi suddenly shook her head. No, your idea won't work. I know that the 12th disc is only a level 7 formation and the 18th disc won't surpass a level 9 formation. But I know you won't be able to get to the 18th disc. Yemo was only a level 6 formation Great Master. It was already substantial that they could get to the 12th disc. Hearing this, Yemo realized that it was not that the formation will increase a level every disc. This meant that at the 18th disc, there might not be formations beyond level 9. When the two started breaking these formations, Yemo didn't care at the start, but later on he watched carefully. These formations were simple and below level 2, but their means were very amazing. Even with Yemo's level 8 formation skills, he couldn't tell where the heart of the formation was at. This meant that these formations were low level, but they were set up with top-grade means. Each one seemed like a natural formation. If Mengqi didn't remind him that one could only stay a day at the first disc, he would want to sit down to investigate the formation here. He was sure if he did that for a few days, his formation skills would increase drastically. Although he simulated his own formation system, if he could get the essence of someone else's formation system, it would benefit him greatly. The reason he could reach level 7 formation Grandmaster was because he was inspired by the formation at the Ice God Forbidden Grounds. Yemo thought of another problem. How could such low-level formations that couldn't even stop Foundation establishment state cultivators appear here? If there was an explanation, then it was that these low-level formations were for cultivators to study. From the first disc to the 18th disc, it was a learning process. Realizing this, Yemo walked even slower and started to study these low-level formations. 3 Birth Chant was good at simulating and developing. When Yemo finished the first disc, these level 1 and level 2 formation means had formed a basis in his mind. When Yemo came to the border of first and second disc, he indeed saw a stone tablet, and there were 27 names. Clearly, all 27 had reached the second disc. Yemo and Mengqi wrote down their names and went into the second disc. The moment Yemo went in, he felt this pushing power as though he was going to be pushed out. Mengqi felt it too. Yemo realized that this was like the pushing power on the 12 Pill King steps. It was made based on the Chu 18 discs, so it was no wonder they had the same pushing power. Mengqi's face changed because if the second disc had this power, what were they going to do at the 18th disc? Even if Yemo was a level 9 formation Grandmaster, how could he keep going up against this pressure? Yemo saw Meng Qi's face change and knew what she was thinking. He smiled to her and said, "Stay closer to me." Meng Qi was dazed but immediately came behind Yemo. She trusted Yemo wasn't someone to take advantage of her, plus she didn't dislike him. A faint aroma came, and Yemo was lost in his mind for a moment. He was thinking about Luoying and Ningqing Xue, the eyes they looked at him with when he left. They wanted him to come back quickly, but he fell in the range of the 3 sea powers. Luckily the Tsunghai Palace wasn't involved. But Yemo didn't regret at all. Jiling helped him a great deal. Even if he knew it was a trap, he would still trade with Meng Hanan. He came back to his senses and used Purple Eye Soul Sever. He immediately felt the pressure around him disappear. It was indeed like the Pill King 12 steps. Just when Meng Qi was thinking about why Yemo told her to come close, she felt the pressure disappear. She immediately realized what Yemo meant and said joyfully, "Martial Brother Yi, you have a way for the pressure to disappear?" Yemo nodded. "Yes. Without it, even if we followed a level 9 formation Grandmaster, we won't be able to get to the 18th disc." At the same time, Yonglani looked at the white stone in shock. Yemo and Meng Qi's name appeared on it, but why wasn't Yongwuzi's name on there? What's going on? Almost a day had passed and the names started appearing on the second level, but Yongwuzi's name still didn't appear. Yonglani couldn't hold it anymore and roared, "Erwu, come over, tell me about that Yemo who fought with you last time!" Yonglani yelled. Erwu shivered and quickly came over recounting the story. "You're saying he's mere body condensation state level 6 and he injured you with one move? He also had the basis of a domain?" Yonglani's voice went cold. "Yes, I was too careless at the time." Erwu didn't even dare to look up. Yonglani's voice went even colder. "Careless my ass, even if you weren't careless, you're no match for that bastard! Piss off!" He kicked and Erwu spat blood while flying away, but he didn't dare to say anything. Yonglani sneered to himself. "Very well, I underestimated you. A mere body condensation state cultivator has a domain. If you dare to kill my son, I will burn your soul for 10,000 years. Everyone felt the bleak killing intent rise up from Yonglani and subconsciously moved away. Wang Tseng frowned and looked at Meng Hanan. If Yemo really killed Yongwuzi, there would be conflict between the two. If someone else recommended Yemo, he would give him out, but he couldn't do that for Meng Hanan. There was a truth realization state tertiary stage behind her. At this time, a contestant came out from the 18 discs and landed. Before he got up, Yonglani's cultivation essence giant hand grabbed him and Yonglani roared, "Where is my son?" Meng Qi followed closely behind Yemo. There were mostly level 2 formations at the second disc and even she didn't take them seriously. Meng Qi followed closely behind Yemo. There were mostly level 2 formations at the second disc and even she didn't take them seriously. But she found that most of the time, Yemo just walked around a few times, and those attacks and trap formations were wasted. But sometimes, Yemo would stand in front of one for a long time. After a long while, Meng Qi realized what Yemo was doing. He was studying these formations. Yemo was indeed doing so. He found that he learned much more at the second disc than the first. He believed that if he continued like this, then at the 18th disc, he might really become a level 9 formation Grandmaster. Even though they used up some time, they surpassed some people when they came to the entrance of the third disc. Those cultivators marking their names saw Yemo and Meng Qi and were extremely shocked. They didn't expect Yemo could come here. How could Yongwuzi let Yemo go and let him walk with Meng Qi? Just when Yemo and Meng Qi marked their names, a body condensation state tertiary stage level 7 cultivator stopped Yemo. "Stop! Kid, did you use some scheme to escape from our young master? No matter how cunning you are, you will die at my hands." Before he could finish, Zissou brought out a long purple ray. This cultivator was a beast cultivator too and only body condensation state level 7. This must mean he was good at formations. This cultivator was going to use his magic artifact, but he didn't expect Yemo to attack without even him finishing his sentence. In his worry, The body condensation state cultivator immediately released his magic artifact, but when he held it, he felt the space around him stagnate. In that instant he realized what it was. This was a domain. Shock flashed across his face, but before he could regret, Zissou already brought up a bloody mist. Yemo threw over a purple flame and took back a storage ring. The entire process was very smooth, making it obvious that he did this often. A sea cultivator alliance nascent soul state tertiary stage saw Yemo kill a body condensation state level 7 with one strike and screamed. In that instant, he was teleported out after losing control. Everyone was silent. No one dared to speak in front of Yemo after seeing this. Some smart cultivators had realized that Yong Wuzi might have already been killed by Yemo. Mengqi was also dazed. She saw Yemo's battle with Yong Wuzi earlier, but now he instantly killed a cultivator about the same cultivation level as him. Clearly, his battle power increased a lot after the battle. He seemed to be constantly progressing. The other two cultivators from the Tonghai cult saw this, and didn't dare to say anything. "Brother Yi, nice!" Unexpectedly, someone came up to greet Yemo at this moment. This cultivator looked like he was in his 30s and was body condensation state level 1 power. His face was a little bronze-colored, but his eyes were very bright. The cultivator saluted with his fists. "I'm Jing Xueqing, from the Tsanghai Palace." "You're the Tsanghai Palace's first king, Jing Xiangdong's," Mengqi said in shock. Jing Xueqing laughed in self-mockery. "That's right, my father is the first king of the Tsanghai Palace, Jing Xiangdong." "Haha, every time someone says my name, the first thing they think about is my father." Mengqi was a little embarrassed. "Sorry, your father is too famous, it's just out of habit." Jing Xueqing didn't mind. "It's fine, perhaps decades later, when people mention Jing Xiangdong, would they ask if he was Jing Xueqing's father, haha." Jing Xueqing was open and didn't seem cunning. This gave Yemo a good impression. Although it was due to him killing Yong Wuzi, Yemo didn't mind. Who would want to connect with you if you were useless? Even Jiling approved of him due to his talent. Only after they connected with you due to your talent would they begin to understand you. Then they would realize that you're not just about talent, then you become best friends. "Brother Jing, you praise me too much. I'm Yemo, just a solo cultivator. I'm just passing by the Sea Cultivator Alliance now." Yemo saluted with his fists. Jing Xueqing saw there were no cultivators around and waved his hand, letting a cauldron-filling state next to him go in first before asking, "Did you kill Yong Wuzi's brother Yi? Otherwise, there's no way he would let you go." Yemo smiled. "Yes, I killed him." Yemo's straightforwardness got Jing Xueqing's approval and he clapped his hands. "Brother Yi, nice courage. I admire people like Brother Yi. If Brother Yi doesn't mind, you can come with me to Tsanghai Palace after the tournament. I hope to become friends with Brother Yi. Would you give me that honor?" Yemo also approved more and more of Jing Xueqing. This guy knew he killed Yong Wuzi and still invited him to Tsanghai Palace, clearly wanting to protect him this way. He was saying it like this to save his face in front of Mengqi. But Yemo was planning to leave here, so he wants going to go to Tsanghai Palace. He still said gratefully, "Thank you, Brother Jing, but that Yong Lani wasn't going to let me go to begin with, and now that I killed Yong Wuzi he will be more furious. So there's no need to go to Tsanghai Palace, I have no opportunity to go." Jing Xueqing took out a jade card. "Brother Yi, if you go out before I come out and that Yong Lani dares to look for trouble, then give this jade card to my father. As long as you maintain that you didn't kill Yong Wuzi, it's fine. No matter how unreasonable that Yong Lani is, he won't dare to do what he wants in front of our Tsanghai Palace. Of course, if I go out first, then this won't happen." Then, Jing Xueqing mocked himself. "Haha, I still ended up using my father's card." Yemo was dazed. This was the first time he met Jing Xueqing and they approved of each other, but this Jing Xueqing dared to let his father protect him. Regardless of whether it would work, this was very generous help, because if Jing Xiangdong dared to help him in this situation, he would become mortal enemies with Yong Lani. They might even fight on the spot. "Brother Jing, I'm a mortal enemy to that Yong Lani. I will bring trouble to you. Emo pushed the card back. Jing Xueqing laughed. Brother Yi, are you looking down on me? That Yonglani is strong, but our Tsunghai Palace is no pushover. If you're willing to be friends with me, then take the Jade card. I can guarantee with my life that you can be a guest at Tsunghai 3 Islands. Emo saw that Jing Xueqing said this and didn't act too distant anymore. He took the Jade card and saluted with his fists. Brother Jing, in that case, I'm making this friend for sure. But I might not be able to go to Tsunghai Palace this time. Don't worry, the next time I come over here, I will come visit for sure. Okay, in that case I'll be going a step ahead. We'll talk once we go out. Even if you don't come to Tsunghai Palace, I can come to Ling Island. Jing Xueqing laughed and walked into the third disc. Clearly, he didn't expect Emo was going to be leaving here immediately. Emo nodded. This Brother Jing is a rather generous and straightforward person. He's a worthy friend. He's not even 100 and yet he's body condensation state level 1, quite substantial. Little did Emo know that Jing Xueqing was praising him the same way. He could reach body condensation state level 1 at this age because he had many fortunes and he was the young master of the Tsunghai Palace. On the other hand, Emo was a solo cultivator and younger than him, but also stronger than him. What made his blood boil was that Emo killed Yongwuzi and just straight up admitted it. No one would dare to do this in the Heartless Sea Outer Rim, but Emo did. How could he not be friends with Emo? At the same time, Yonglani grabbed that cultivator and roared. You said that Emo killed our contestant Qingli? In one move? Speak! After entering the third disc, Emo didn't hold back anymore. He didn't even study the formations as intently. He wanted to study the formations here for a good half-month, but he knew that was implausible. Luckily, he only needed to know the framework of the formation. After entering the third disc, Emo didn't hold back anymore. He didn't even study the formations as intently. He wanted to study the formations here for a good half-month, but he knew that was implausible. Luckily, he only needed to know the framework of the formation. Mengqi was numb from following Emo. She heard that the fast people would need at least half a day to pass the first 3 discs, yet Emo only used 15 minutes to pass the third. When they came to the entrance of the 4th disc, they found only 3 names on it. Mengqi followed Emo and quickly passed the 4th and to the 5th. This time, there were no names written on it. This meant that they reached the 5th disc first. But strangely, Emo didn't go in and sat down instead. After another half a day, 2 Tonghai cult cultivators came here. When they saw Emo, they had a serious look. They immediately released their magic artifacts. Clearly they already knew that Emo killed Qingli with 1 strike, and even Yongwuzi might have been killed by Emo. They had good formation skills, but they were just hollow spirit state power. Emo waved his hand. Don't worry, I won't kill you. I have a jade slip here. One of you please give it to Yonglani. This news is very helpful for your sect leader. I admire Yonglani greatly, so I've worked hard to help him with this. The hollow spirit state didn't dare to hesitate, and quickly took the jade slip, while still being wary of Emo. If Emo dared to attack, he would teleport out immediately. Emo saw that the cultivator just took his jade slip but didn't do anything, so his face immediately sank. Did you not hear what I just said? I told you to give this to Yonglani. Are you deaf? The hollow spirit state cultivator shook and said carefully. But we're in the tournament. Emo scanned him and said plainly. So you're saying competing is more important than delivering my message? No, no. The hollow spirit state quickly said. He was really scared Emo would suddenly cut him. Then hurry up. Emo raised his voice. The hollow spirit state cultivator was scared to the point of shaking, and he no longer dared to resist the power of the Chu 18 discs, and was teleported out. Seeing this, Emo ignored the other pale-faced hollow spirit state, and went into the 5th disc. Mengqi finally couldn't hold it, and said after walking a while, I feel you were like that Yonglani just then. Emo smiled. Really? I learned it from him. After falling silent for a while, she said, It's not good to learn from him. I don't like that type of person. Emo smiled this time and didn't reply. The row of words stayed in the air for a long while before disappearing. Seeing this, many cultivators wanted to laugh, but no one dared to. Everyone could guess Yongwuzi wasn't Yonglani's son, but only Emo dared to say it. But this cultivator called Emo was quite interesting. He dared to say such thing to Yonglani overtly. Did he not know there are things for cultivators in this world that are thousands of times more terrifying than death? Yonglani's fist was cracking. Blood rushed up to his throat. If he wasn't so powerful, he would have spat blood. Just when fire was about to beam out of his eyes, he saw the storage ring in his daughter's hand and was shook. He immediately said, "Give me the storage ring." Yongyue didn't dare to say no and immediately gave it. The moment it left her hand, a terrifying energy was released. Yonglani set up a cultivation essence barrier in a split moment and threw Yongyue out. Rumble Rumble Emo had set up the explosion restriction in short time. He knew that no matter how long he spent on it, he wouldn't be able to injure Yonglani at all. But the instant he threw Yongyue out, her clothes were torn a little. She wasn't injured and she immediately took out a new set of clothes. But her pretty face was now red with anger. Yonglani's hair was just a little messy after the explosion, but he could no longer control his anger. That bastard who kept saying he deserved to die had long been scheming against him. "Emo, if I don't kill you, I'm not a human," Yonglani said word by word. One cultivator from the Shanghai Palace saw this and frowned. To be able to make this jade slip and set up all these mechanisms, no ordinary cultivator could do it. One needed to be far better than Yonglani in restrictions and formations. More importantly, this cultivator must have very powerful spirit sense control and spirit sense. It was already a little hard for Mengqi to enter the fifth disc, but Emo walked around freely. There seemed to be nothing that could stop him, whether it was an attack, trap, or illusion formation. It was already a little hard for Mengqi to enter the fifth disc, but Emo walked around freely. There seemed to be nothing that could stop him, whether it was an attack, trap, or illusion formation. Even though Mengqi knew Emo was a level 6 formation great master, she didn't expect him to walk this freely into the sixth disc. Sometimes, she even suspected if Emo was beyond a level 6 formation great master now. She was also confused how Emo made the pushing power disappear, but she didn't ask this. In fact, Emo was already trying hard to reduce his speed. Sometimes when he saw a very exquisite formation, he would stop and study it for a while. Even so, on the third day, they still passed to the 9th disc and came to the entrance of the 10th. There were a few level 6 formations in the 9th disc, and according to his experience, Emo was sure that 10th disc would have all level 6 formations. Emo didn't go in at the entrance of the 10th disc, nor did he write his name. Instead he sat down and Mengqi followed. Mengqi asked carefully, "Martial brother Yi, are you worried that the 10th disc will be all level 6 formations and we will be teleported out?" Emo smiled. "I'm worried, but not about that." He paused and looked at Mengqi. "If we marked our names on the 9th disc, what do you think the Sea Cultivator Alliance will get?" Mengqi thought for a while before answering. "I think they would get either second or last place, definitely not first." Emo shook his head. "I disagree. I'm sure that if I mark my name here, Sea Cultivator Alliance would get either first or second place, definitely not last. I think probably second place. Shanghai Palace contestants can get to the 9th for sure." He knew this because the guy he forced out was Tonghai Sect's formation master. With that, Tonghai Sect is pretty much out of the game. He then looked at Mengqi and added, "If it wasn't that your master helped me, I wouldn't mind Sea Cultivator Alliance being last, but no matter what rank they get, the 9th disc will be the last tablet I mark my name." Mengqi fell silent. She couldn't say anything about it. She knew why Emo still hadn't marked his name. He was waiting for others. If they went too fast, it wasn't good. Half a day later, Emo got up and marked his name. "Let's go to the 10th disc." Then he turned around to Mengqi. "Sometimes, don't trust people who aren't very close to you like your master." Meng Hanan, being unable to fulfill her promise, made Yemo doubt her character. Meng Qi frowned. Martial brother Yi, I know my master didn't help you and you have a bad view of her, but she really treats me nicely. It's not that she doesn't want to help us, but her ability is limited. Yemo sneered and didn't respond. If she couldn't help them, why make the promise? Meng Hanan clearly didn't care about his life. Meng Qi saw this and sighed. See Cultivator Alliances. Yemo and Meng Qi went into the 10th disk. Some High Palace is only at the 7th disk. Cultivators were discussing. Wang Tsing looked at the white tablet excitedly. He never believed Yemo would be able to pass the 9th disk and be the first. But after news of Yemo killing a body condensation state level 8 with one move got out, he grew excited. If Yemo was really that powerful and he was level 6 formation Great Master, then the Sea Cultivator Alliance would get a big surprise this time. He guessed right. Yemo was able to get into the 10th disk this quickly, meaning that he quite possibly would reach 11th and 12th. If Yemo went into 11th, then it was obvious that Sea Cultivator Alliance would be first. This means they would get 50 people going into Fengchu Island. This had never happened before. As long as Yemo could help him get first, it was fine. He wouldn't care if Yemo was killed by Yonglani. Meng Hanan saw this and was also surprised. But thinking that a genius like Yemo was about to be killed by Yonglani, she felt guilty. She didn't consider Yemo's safety very seriously indeed. Yonglani was more furious. He didn't expect this insect's formation skills to be this powerful. He was first and was that far ahead of second. His top contestant was forced out by him, so it was impossible for them to get first this time. But soon, the spectators were confused. After Yemo and Meng Qi went into the 10th disk, they seemed to have gone into hiding. Jing Xueqing and another cultivator had passed the 8th disk, but they still didn't leave the 10th disk. Everyone thought they had encountered trouble. Another day passed. Jing Xueqing also marked his name on the 9th disk and went into the 10th. But Yemo and Meng Qi still stayed at the 10th. Wang Tsung frowned and asked Meng Hanan, "What's going on?" With the power Yemo displayed, it was highly possible he would pass the 10th disk, but Yemo still didn't leave his name. Meng Hanan also frowned and shook her head. "I don't know Yemo, but Chi-Chi should be fine." Yemo took Meng Qi into the 11th disk and didn't leave his name. Meng Qi knew that Yemo didn't want to get first for the Sea Cultivator Alliance at all. Since Yemo didn't mark his name, of course she wasn't going to as well. When Meng Qi followed Yemo into the 14th disk, she realized that Yemo wasn't a level 6 formation Great Master at all. He was at least a level 7 formation Grand Master. Yemo was only injured a little by an attack formation in 14th disk, and Meng Qi suspected Yemo did it on purpose as he wanted to see the formation. Meng Qi was right. Yemo indeed activated that attack formation on purpose. But it wasn't just to test its power but also to see how it ran. Yemo knew that with his level 8 formation skills, it was a bit hard to reach the 18th disk, so he had to keep increasing his formation skills on the way. At the 14th disk, Yemo suddenly stopped. He looked back at Meng Qi and said, "I don't believe there is someone who can reach the 14th disk." Meng Qi nodded in agreement. Yemo looked at Meng Qi and suddenly said, "If I tell you to take off all your clothes and let me see, would you agree?" Meng Qi was softly listening to Yemo's words, but after hearing this, her face burst red and fury beamed through her eyes. "What did you say?" Her heart went cold. She thought Yemo was a righteous person and a hero big brother-like figure, but now she knew she saw wrong. At this moment, he made this request. Even if she died, she wouldn't want this guy to assault her. But Yemo stared at her and wasn't desperate at all. Meng Qi breathed heavily but calmed down. She stared at Yemo coldly. "Let go of my protection, let me go out, I don't want to follow you." Yemo shook his head. "Sorry, I can't let you go alone. You will die for sure, and that Yonglani will give you a horrible death." Meng Qi heard this and shivered, but she still said coldly, "Even if I die, that's my problem, it has nothing to do with you." Yemo said calmly, "It does. If you go out, people will know I can reach the 18th disk and they will stop me around there." Mengchi calmed down and said coldly, "Even if you kill me, I won't take off my clothes, keep dreaming." Mengchi calmed down and said coldly, "Even if you kill me, I won't take off my clothes, keep dreaming." Suddenly she stopped. Wait, if Yemo wanted her, he didn't need to ask for her approval at all. Could she resist him? Plus, why would he be in the mood for that now? Also, Yemo was right. If she went out, would her master be able to protect her? She wouldn't even be able to commit suicide in front of Yonglani. No matter what Yemo was thinking, he was just one person. She would just pretend it was a nightmare. Thinking about this, she calmed down, and her fury was gone. She started loosening her clothes and she said coldly, "Okay, I agree. I hope after you do what you do, you can fulfill your promise and take me out of here." Yemo smiled plainly. "Martial Sister Meng, you don't need to take off your clothes, you've misunderstood me. But the fact is, I do need to check your body. I need to check if there are any marks left on you. This is like taking off your clothes. But I'm not taking you out to fulfill my promise. If you're not willing, I won't force you. But one thing I need to make clear, if I can get to the 18th disc, I won't allow you to come with me." Mengchi was dazed and immediately understood what Yemo meant. Her face went red with awkwardness. She said in a stutter, "Martial Brother Yi, you're saying I've been marked?" Yemo nodded. "Yes, so it's up to you if you're willing, but you understand what I mean." Mengchi said quietly to Yemo, "Sorry, Martial Brother Yi, I thought of you in a bad way, check me. Regardless, I won't resist." Yemo nodded. He was happy with her decisiveness. If she didn't even have this, she would be a burden to be with. "Relax your mind," Yemo said and grabbed her wrist. His spirit sense scanned her from head to toe, not even letting of the fingernails. Mengchi couldn't feel Yemo's spirit sense but knew what he was doing. She could even feel that Yemo's hand wasn't on her wrist but all over her body, making her shake. Her face was bursting red with embarrassment. She knew she had no privacy in front of Yemo at all. She just wanted to leave the Chu 18 discs as quickly as possible, and use the space travel rune to leave Luo Yu continent, and never see Yemo again. At this moment, Yemo's hand suddenly left her wrist and a hidden black spot appeared in Yemo's hands. Mengchi could see it clearly with her spirit sense, and she asked sluggishly, "Martial Brother Yi, this is the spirit sense mark on my body?" Yemo breathed easy. He was scared that there would be a mark and he wouldn't be able to find it. Yemo nodded. "Yes." "Huh?" Mengchi dazed. She didn't know who marked her body. She suddenly felt despair that her master was that nice to her but still secretly marked her body. Yemo seemed to know what she thought and comforted her. "It's probably not your master's. This spirit sense mark belongs to a truth realization state cultivator, and his power isn't low." Mengchi heard this and was shook. "I understand." When her master brought her to see the Vice Alliance leader Tai Ha, he tested her talent. Tai Ha was master's support, and a truth realization state cultivator. This meant that the spirit sense mark was left behind by Tai Ha. If he did this, then her master would know for sure. Although she was a little sad, she thought that she was saved by her master, so she calmed down. She had long cast her embarrassment aside and looked at the black dot and asked, "Martial Brother Yi, do you have a way to destroy it?" Yemo smiled. "Why would I want to destroy it?" He wasn't going to destroy it, then they would lose the lead. As long as they still had a lead, they wouldn't be too wary of Mengchi. Yemo took out his formation flag and started setting up a formation. In just 15 minutes, he set up a trap formation in the 14th disc and put the mark inside. Then, he took her and left. They were all high level 7 formations, but Yemo was on the verge of breakthrough, so although these formations were good, they weren't enough to stop him. But even though Yemo was learning as he went, he still brought Mengchi into 15th disc. In here, it didn't feel wet as before, but both felt that the spirit chi here was more dense, many times more. "Such dense spirit chi!" Mengchi exclaimed. Suddenly, she asked, "Martial Brother Yi, if I use the space travel rune here, would I be able to leave?" Yemo shook his head. "I don't know, but I don't suggest you try here. If you fail, you will be teleported to Yonglani and I will be troubled too." Meng-Chi said adamantly. I won't tell your plan. Emo shook his head. Because at that time, Yonglani won't need you to tell him for him to know. Meng-Chi shivered. How could she know the means of truth realization state cultivator? Who knew if he couldn't soul search her? Meng-Chi stopped talking and just followed Emo. At the same time, she watched the 15th disc formations. She didn't know a single one, but she was sure any one of them could stop her. At the beginning of the 15th disc, there were ordinary level 8 formations, and although Emo was on the verge of breakthrough, he was still a level 8 formation Grand Master, so he began to slow down. Meng-Chi followed Emo closely and didn't dare to lag a single step behind. Emo saw all sorts of formations here that amazed him. What he didn't dare to believe was that there were even some level 7 spirit herbs here. This was probably due to the drastic increase in spirit chi. Emo investigated the formations while collecting spirit herbs. If it wasn't that Emo could come into the Chu 18 discs, Meng-Chi would think Emo was some 1,000-year-old cultivator. Otherwise, how could he walk so freely here? In a day's time, Emo and Meng-Chi passed into the 16th disc. His formation skills also improved more. But Emo was still within the realm of level 8 formation Grand Master. Once they came into the 16th disc, Meng-Chi and Emo felt an even denser spirit chi. Meng-Chi breathed comfortably and looked at ahead in admiration. I really want to cultivate here for a few years. I would be able to reach body condensation state for sure. Emo realized now that there was definitely a spirit range under here, and one that wasn't low level. In the 16th disc were all top-grade level 8 formations, and so although Emo was on the verge of breakthrough, he didn't dare to be careless. One little mistake and he would be in Yonglani's hands. Outside, Yonglani closed his eyes. No one knew what he was thinking, but everyone could feel his killing intent. Outside, Yonglani closed his eyes. No one knew what he was thinking, but everyone could feel his killing intent. More and more cultivators were being teleported out. Tong Hai Cult only had 2 people left trying to pass the 9th disc, while the Tsunghai Palace had the most people still in the trial. Jing Xueqing had passed the 10th disc and went into the 11th disc. 2 more of his power faction were still on the 9th disc. As for Sea Cultivator Alliance, other than the names Emo and Meng-Chi left on the 9th disc, the best they had only passed the 8th disc. The rest of the contestants all failed. Wang Tsung looked bleakly at the white stone. Meng-Chi was fine and she went into the 10th disc with Emo, but even now they still hadn't marked their names on the 10th disc. If even the 2 cultivators from Tong Hai sect marked their names on the 9th disc, the Sea Cultivator Alliance would still be last. He even suspected that Emo was angry at him for not helping and intentionally didn't leave his name. If that was the case, he would kill Emo first before Yonglani. Emo stopped at the first trap formation at the 16th disc. There were too many variations in formations. Even the same formation set up with different means would have different effects. If Emo didn't go from low to high in here and directly face the 16th disc instead, even he would need a while to break it. So he stopped at the first trap formation. He wanted to study it deeply to set up a foundation for entering the 17th disc. Meng-Chi sat behind Emo cultivating. She didn't even collect the spirit herbs as she knew how dangerous it was now. Emo could have used 1 day to pass the 16th disc, but he used 3 days. Then he took Meng-Chi into the 17th disc. Martial Brother Yi, you're a level 9 formation Grand Master? Meng-Chi finally couldn't resist asking. She felt the level 8 formations at 16th disc didn't trouble Emo much. Emo shook his head. I'm not yet level 9 formation Grand Master, I'm only level 8. Hearing this, Meng-Chi was shocked out of her mind. A level 8 formation Grand Master within 100 years, this was unbelievable. But soon, she began to worry. Emo said he wasn't a level 9 formation Grand Master, then that means he didn't have confidence in passing the 18th disc. Martial Brother Yi, you mean? Meng-Chi didn't dare to ask. Emo knew what she wanted to say and smiled. That's right, I don't have certainty in passing the 18th disc, but now that I stand at the 17th disc, it means I have a chance of passing. Who can be sure I can't reach level 9 formation Grandmaster here? Mengqi looked dazedly at Emo, not expecting Emo dared to try and reach level 9 formation Grandmaster here. It was no wonder he studied the formations before for so long. But even if he used all 18 days to study, could he reach level 9 formation Grandmaster? 18 days, not 18 years or 180 years. Mengqi was speechless, but she immediately thought that since Emo could reach level 8 formation Grandmaster within 100 years, who could be sure that he couldn't reach level 9 formation Grandmaster in these 18 days? Looking at Emo, he was far from even 50 years old. Thinking about this, Mengqi couldn't help asking, "Martial brother Yi, are you 50 years old?" Emo was dazed, but he shook his head. Mengqi was speechless. This meant that Emo was probably only in his 30s or 40s, and yet he already reached this height. There were many more prodigies in her cultivation world than Luoyu continent, but she had never seen someone as absurd as Emo, horrifyingly young, and his power, formation skills, and forgery skills were all through the roof. As they spoke, Emo realized they were in a misty world. He was shook. This was the first time he didn't even see a formation, and he was trapped. Mengqi also realized this and knew they were trapped. She didn't dare to speak. She even thought they were trapped because she distracted Emo and regretted greatly. Emo knew this had nothing to do with her. The three-birth chant allowed him to even form his golden cord during a fight. How could he be affected by words? "Don't move, stay close to me. This is a level 9 trap formation. It might also be an illusion formation," Emo said. He told Mengqi not to move as he didn't know this formation. If the two moved, they might be separated instantly. If Mengqi separated from him, she would either be teleported out or killed. Mengqi didn't dare to move at all. Emo let out his spirit sense carefully and found that his spirit sense couldn't pass through the mist at all and was devoured. Emo suddenly thought of the misty valley in the herb valley. It also devoured spirit sense. Emo sat down and started to study this level 9 formation. Mengqi didn't dare to look around and looked at Emo without blinking. She felt Emo's back was beginning to fade. She was so scared she was immediately about to grab Emo's clothes. But what shook her was she missed. A powerful pushing force came. Mengqi was shook. She wanted to stop that pushing force, but it grew larger and larger. Soon, she would be teleported out. The next moment, she took out her flying sword. If she was teleported out, she would use it to suicide. Mengqi didn't dare to imagine her fate if she fell in Yonglani's hands. At this moment, Emo also woke up in shock to find Mengqi wasn't behind him. If she got teleported out, it meant his plan of escaping from the 18th disc would be spoiled. At this moment, Emo couldn't worry about studying this formation and threw out formation flags. Moments later, the mist dissipated and he saw Mengqi was about to suicide with a flying sword. Emo dashed over to her without hesitation and took away the flying sword while protecting her with spirit sense sever. Mengqi woke up and saw that she was saved by Emo and couldn't help crying tears of joy. "I'll carry you." Emo knew he only understood a little bit of this formation and that's how he was able to save her. But this didn't mean he would be able to save her next time too. Mengqi nodded and jumped on Emo's back. Emo took out a top-grade spirit artifact band and wrapped her tightly before sitting down to study the formation. Emo used his three-birth chant to simulate the level 9 formation and tried to break through to level 9 formation Grandmaster. But Mengqi wasn't able to calm down. Emo tied her too tightly. Her chest was completely squished against Emo's back. The masculine chi of manliness seeped over, and she couldn't stop thinking. She had never touched a male cultivator, and was very shy. Yet she didn't dare to move now as she was scared it would distract Emo. As time went by, Mengqi felt her body was soft. She had this inexplicable feeling of joy. She bit her lips and tried desperately to control her shivering. Suddenly, Emo rose up and howled. His formation flag sprayed out and Mengqi felt the white mist dissipate rapidly. Yemo realized this moment that his formation system came from the three-birth chant. It was a unique system, and he didn't need to study others' formations. No matter how unique others' formations were, as long as he was a level 9 formation grandmaster, other level 9 formations meant nothing to him. Yemo realized this moment that his formation system came from the three-birth chant. It was a unique system, and he didn't need to study others' formations. No matter how unique others' formations were, as long as he was a level 9 formation grandmaster, other level 9 formations meant nothing to him. The first 16 discs experience told him that all level 8 formations couldn't stop him because he was a level 8 formation grandmaster. If he wanted to focus on studying other people's formations, he would instead be heading down the wrong path. For other formations, he only needed to know the logic behind the formation. At this moment, Yemo's view finally opened up. His formation skills finally opened a crevice between level 8 and level 9. The moment he stood up and sprayed down formation flags, he reached level 9 formation grandmaster. Meng-Chi saw Yemo walk out of the illusion formation and start to spend less and less time on formations. Eventually, he spent most of the time collecting spirit herbs. There were a few level 8 spirit herbs at the 17th disc. Meng-Chi finally couldn't resist asking, "Martial Brother Yi, you've broken through?" Yemo smiled. "That's right, I've just reached level 9 formation grandmaster. So the 17th disc's formations posed no threat to me. I went down a wrong path before, otherwise I would have reached level 9 formation grandmaster earlier." Meng-Chi took a cold breath in. Yemo really became a level 9 formation grandmaster in such a short time. Were there really such people in the world? She had completely forgotten she was on Yemo's back now and said after a while, "Martial Brother Yi, when you went into the Chu 18 discs were you certain you could break through to level 9 formation grandmaster?" Yemo shook his head. "How can that be possible? I wasn't certain at all, but the Chu 18 discs is a special place. It helps greatly with understanding formations. I think this is set up by some ancient sect to help sect members understand formations." If Yemo wasn't able to break through to level 9 formation grandmaster, he still had his backup. He would go into the Golden Page world and ask Jiling for help. If even Jiling couldn't help him, he would hide into the Golden Page world. When the two reached the 18th disc, they were shocked by the scene before them. At this moment, they realized that they stood at the peak of the 18th disc. There was no pressure nor formation here. This meant that Chu 18 discs only had 17 discs. The last disc was just for show. At the peak in the middle, there was a huge spirit gathering formation, and in the center there were two extreme dense spirit chi spirit ranges. "Extreme grade spirit range!" Meng-Chi yelled out in shock. She had never seen one before, but she recognized it. Yemo took a cold breath in too. They were really indeed extreme grade spirit ranges. What shocked him the most were the two white jade tables next to the spirit range. Each table had something on it. The first was a female-style handkerchief and the other was an azure ore. Yemo was sure that the handkerchief was beyond an extreme grade cultivation artifact. This meant that it might be a low-grade immortal artifact. However, it was for women. The azure ore caught Yemo's attention more. Usually blue gave people a cool feeling, but Yemo felt this intense heat from it. "It's an extreme grade cultivation artifact," Meng-Chi called out, and her eyes were full of desire and as she stared at the handkerchief. But she immediately remembered she was still on Yemo's back and quickly said, "Martial Brother Yi, put me down. There's no pushing force here." Yemo put her down and stared at the handkerchief. "That's definitely not an extreme grade cultivation artifact. I have a feeling it's a low grade immortal artifact." "Huh?" Meng-Chi's embarrassment retreated and her face was covered in shock. Even only a rare few 9-star sects could have low grade immortal artifacts. "The handkerchief is yours, the blue ore is mine," Yemo said without hesitation. He felt that ore would benefit him greatly, but he didn't know how. Meng-Chi quickly waved her hand. "I won't take it, you can have it all, Martial Brother Yi. I can only come here because of you. I just want you to take me out of here and let me use the space travel rune to leave Luo Yu continent, and I will be very happy." Emo smiled. Does it look like I'm someone who takes everything for myself? That handkerchief is for girls. Since we encountered it, we can share it. I will take one of the extreme grade spirit ranges, Mengchi quickly said. I won't take the spirit range, I can't take it. She already agreed to Emo giving her the handkerchief. Emo nodded. I know you can't take it, but the other one can't be taken, it must be left here. Why? Mengchi asked in confusion. Emo waved his hand. It's hard to explain, but you just need to know it must not be taken away. If Emo took away the other one, it might cause the formations to fail like in the ice god forbidden grounds. That would be suicide. Just when Emo took out the spirit range, he felt something was wrong. He couldn't care to think much and threw the handkerchief to Mengchi while he took the blue ore. At the same time he released Blue Moon. Mengchi realized the moment she felt the handkerchief that it was definitely higher than an extreme-grade cultivation artifact. As soon as Mengchi got on Blue Moon, Emo threw out a few formation flags and Blue Moon went into stealth mode. He dashed out of Chu 18 discs and left. When Emo took one of the extreme-grade spirit ranges, everyone felt a rumble on the island. What's going on? Some cultivators called out. In that instant, the remaining contestants were teleported out. Wang Tseng breathed easy. The Tonghai sex people weren't able to pass the 9th disc and were teleported out. But that rumbling didn't go on for very long before stopping. When Yonglani saw that Emo wasn't teleported out, his power rose and he reached out to grab Jing Xueqing, who went into the 11th disc. He was the only cultivator who passed the 10th disc and Emo had gone missing in the 10th disc, so the first he was going to ask was Jing Xueqing. But before his hand reached Jing Xueqing, another cultivation essence giant hand reached out and the two hands collided. A huge explosion sounded and a huge ravine appeared where they clashed. Cult leader Yong has such a big temper, but it's not enough to do what you want with the Tsunghai Palace. A cold voice sounded and a middle-aged man stood out. Yonglani calmed down. He realized his actions were inappropriate just then. He could do that to other people but not to Tsunghai Palace cultivators. The first king of Tsunghai Palace, Jing Xiangdong, was only a little weaker than him and was also truth realization state level 9. Realizing this, Yonglani saluted with his fists. Brother Jean, I was desperate to get revenge for my son. Sorry about the offense, but can Brother Jean let your son tell me if he saw Emo at the 10th disc? Hearing this, everyone looked at Wang Tsang contemptuously. Yonglani did the same thing to Sea Cultivator Alliance and Tsunghai Palace, but Tsunghai Palace dared to retaliate while Sea Cultivator Alliance acted like a coward. Wang Tsang heard this, of course, and his face was extremely bleak, but he didn't say anything. Hearing this, Jin Xiangdong looked at his son. Xueqing, he's asking you a question. If you want to answer, then answer. If you don't want answer, then let's go. Hearing this, Yonglani's face went green, but he couldn't use this as an excuse to start war with Tsunghai Palace. The three kings didn't differ much in power. He wouldn't be able to get the upper hand if they fought. Jin Xueqing realized something and looked at his father in confusion. Father, that Emo didn't come out? How is that possible? We became friends in the 18 discs. Jin Xiangdong heard this and laughed. Xueqing, good eyes. That Emo is a worthy friend. Hearing their conversation, Yonglani's face grew worse, but he realized that Jin Xueqing probably didn't know where Emo was. Then, he looked at Meng Hanan and asked coldly, Vice Alliance leader Meng, you should know your disciple, how is she? Meng Hanan was shook. She knew she had support, but in front of Yonglani that was nothing. She also felt despair. Ever since the last Alliance leader went missing and Vice Alliance leader Wang Tseng took over, the Sea Cultivator Alliance was far from what they used to be. They were still one of the big three, but they were undoubtedly the weakest. Meng Hanan was shook. She knew she had support, but in front of Yonglani that was nothing. She also felt despair. Ever since the last Alliance leader went missing and Vice Alliance leader Wang Tseng took over, the Sea Cultivator Alliance was far from what they used to be. They were still one of the big three, but they were undoubtedly the weakest. She took out a jade card and gave it to Yonglani. Meng-Chi has a spirit sense mark, you can feel it through this. Yonglani took it and scanned his spirit sense before frowning and saying, This spirit sense mark is still inside the Chu 18 discs, this means your disciple Meng-Chi is still inside? Meng Hanan bowed and said, Theoretically yes, but this spirit sense mark only moved around in a small area for a few days now. I'm not sure. Yonglani had a bad feeling and that was Yemo had left, but he didn't believe his judgment as one had to reach the 18th disc in order to leave. That means one needed to be a level 9 formation grandmaster, and no matter how much of a genius Yemo was, there was no way he could reach level 9 formation grandmaster within 100 years. The tournament had ended but no cultivator had left. Everyone wanted to know when Yemo and Meng-Chi would come out and see what awaited them. Jin Xueqing had made up his mind that no matter what, he would help Yemo this time. For cultivators, a few days were nothing and 18 days soon passed. The Chu 18 discs were shrouded in mist again and disappeared from sight. Everyone knew that Yemo wouldn't be coming out as the Chu 18 discs had shut. It would appear 50 years later. Yonglani's face was green. His cult lost this tournament miserably, and he was played like a fool. Most importantly, his son was killed by Yemo inside and he swore to kill Yemo, but Yemo was nowhere to be seen. Meng Hanan felt sad. Since Meng-Chi could leave with Yemo, it meant that she found the spirit sense mark on her body. She didn't know how disappointed Meng-Chi would be after finding that. She knew that even if she saw her disciple again, they wouldn't be as close as before. At this moment, Blue Moon had left the 3 seas for more than 10 days. It was getting faster and faster. Meng-Chi felt this speed and rejoiced that she asked Yemo for help. Otherwise, even if Yongwuzi died, she wouldn't live well. If her master didn't suspect her at all, she wouldn't be planting a spirit sense mark on her. Ever since Yemo left, he had been studying the blue ore along with cultivation. Even with his knowledge, he didn't know what this blue ore was. Martial brother Yi, I want to ask you of one thing. Half a month later, Meng-Chi requested. Yemo looked at her and smiled. I know what you want, but no rush. We've been traveling quite a long way, but it's still not safe yet. After another half-month I will find a place to set up spirit gathering formation for you. We've gone through hardship together, we can be considered friends. I can help you with this. Hearing this, Meng-Chi got up in surprise and joy and bowed. Thank you, Martial Brother Yi, it's my honor to be friends with you. Half a month later, on a barren island in the Heartless Sea, Yemo took out an extreme-grade spirit range and put up a stealth spirit formation to cover the spirit chi before setting up a spirit gathering formation on it. Meng-Chi felt the extremely dense spirit chi in the formation. It was so dense that she felt she didn't need to cultivate, and her cultivation level was increasing. She breathed satisfyingly and bowed to Yemo. After today we might never see each other again, but Martial Brother, you will always be Meng-Chi's big brother. Please accept my bow. If it wasn't for you, I might never be able to return home. After realizing the spirit sense mark on her, Meng-Chi knew that she was too naive before. She might have been traded off by the Sea Cultivator Alliance before she reached higher cultivation states. Yemo waved his hand. Hurry up and use your rune, it's the Heartless Sea, and although my stealth spirit formation is good, if the spirit chi attracts high-level spirit beasts then it wouldn't be good. Yes, Meng-Chi will be leaving. Take care, Brother Yi, Meng-Chi said. Then she took out a golden rune from her Dan Tian and spat essence blood on it. The golden rune activated and turned into a golden whirlpool. It expanded until it covered Meng-Chi entirely. The spirit chi ran rapidly and was sucked away. Yemo was shook. This rune was too taxing on spirit chi. Without an extreme-grade spirit range, he might really not be able to use it. According to this, even if she reached higher cultivation states, if she couldn't find a top-grade spirit range and level 9 spirit gathering formation, she still wouldn't be able to use the rune. Meng-Chi realized this too when she saw how much spirit chi the space travel rune was devouring. She rejoiced that she had met Yemo, this level 9 formation grandmaster. Although Meng-Chi still wanted to say thank you, the golden circle spun faster and faster until it took her away. With a thud, The spirit chi was too volatile and the stealth spirit formation exploded. The dense spirit chi spread out immediately. Emo quickly took out formation flags and took the extreme grade spirit range back into his golden page world. As soon as Emo did this, 2 figures landed on the island. Emo was shook thinking they couldn't be this fast. He just took away the spirit range and people were here. Such dense spirit chi, one person said, but the other said nothing. Emo saw clearly that there were 2 cultivators here, one cauldron filling state level 8, and the one behind was disaster transformation state level 1. Emo realized that they were just passing by. The cauldron filling state level 8 was running and the disaster transformation state level 1 was hunting him. The cauldron filling state cultivator had a medium build and a bronze-colored face. His hair wasn't long, but he released a thick sword. It was a middle-grade cultivation artifact. That disaster transformation state cultivator had 2 small points of mustache, reminding Emo of that Dong Fang Shi on Earth. Immediately, Emo already had a bad impression of this disaster transformation state cultivator. However, that disaster transformation state instead looked at Emo. Emo frowned and cursed his bad luck. He knew that this guy wasn't going to let him go easily. That disaster transformation state frowned at Emo. What was here before? Did you take it? Otherwise, why is the spirit chi dissipating? A disaster transformation state level 1. Emo was sure he couldn't beat him, but he felt he could still run. Thinking about this, Emo said calmly, "No matter what's here, it has nothing to do with you. How dare you, a mere body condensation state cultivator, talk to me like this?" That disaster transformation state released a red ray. Before Emo could even see what it was, it already smashed at Yemo's head. Emo was furious. There was no reason in the cultivation realm. Indeed, power was everything. Emo released Zisu and hacked. He didn't use Illusion Cloud and just hacked out with all his cultivation essence. He knew that the disaster transformation state didn't use his full power either. The red ray and purple ray clashed and splashed apart. Emo was sent flying away a few hundred meters. His cultivation essence rushed around his body, almost making him spit blood. This disaster transformation state cultivator was dazed when he saw the small body condensation state cultivator just flew out, and didn't even spit blood after clashing with him. This disaster transformation state cultivator was dazed when he saw the small body condensation state cultivator just flew out, and didn't even spit blood after clashing with him. Even an ordinary cauldron filling state cultivator would be heavily injured after that, much less a body condensation state cultivator. Even the cauldron filling state level 8 was surprised. He didn't expect this body condensation state cultivator was so insane. Emo calmed his rustling cultivation essence and thought to himself that he had already tested it out. Even if he used all his means, he was no match for this disaster transformation state cultivator. But if he wanted to run, this disaster transformation state wouldn't be able to keep him. If he wanted to kill this disaster transformation state, he would need to trap him with a level 8 trap formation and then kill him with lightning sword. But Emo knew he couldn't set up a level 8 formation in a short while. Emo saw the magic artifact of this disaster transformation state. It was a red flower. "No wonder you're so cocky, you have some power!" The disaster transformation state sneered and was about to come up again. But that cauldron filling state level 8 stopped the disaster transformation state cultivator. His released his thick sword that swept up waves of white light. Emo saw those waves grew rapidly like inflating balloons. After the waves hacked out, even Emo could feel the sharp cutting cultivation essence on the side. Emo approved of this cauldron filling state tertiary stage. He could have ran when the disaster transformation state came, but instead, he helped him stop this disaster transformation state cultivator. The disaster transformation state saw this and sneered. The flower exploded into red rays that covered the heavens and clashed with the sword light, making a piercing sound. This time, the red light was much stronger than the ones Emo took on. As the two fought, Emo clearly felt that the cauldron-filling state cultivator wasn't a match for the disaster transformation state cultivator. But Emo felt this cauldron-filling state cultivator wasn't simple, he was quite substantial to be able to battle a disaster transformation state cultivator. At this moment, that disaster transformation state used another flying sword cultivation artifact. Seeing this, the cauldron-filling state's face changed drastically and tried to retreat, but he wasn't successful. The red flower had trapped him. If the cauldron-filling state didn't have another move, he would be dead for sure. But Emo wasn't planning to keep watching. If that disaster transformation state cultivator didn't attack him, he would be leaving, but that disaster transformation state attacked him. If he didn't get back at him, he wouldn't be Emo. Emo wasn't someone to suffer and just run away. Even with Yonglani, he used that jade slip to ridicule him. The disaster transformation state trapped the cauldron-filling state and sneered, but before he used his flying sword, a few black lightning swords rained down. They were the size of a child's arm, and that disaster transformation state level 1 was shocked. He didn't expect Emo was a lightning spirit root cultivator, and that his lightning-style magic was this powerful. This size lightning swords were almost the size of his divine damnation lightning arcs. Without that cauldron-filling state level 8, he wouldn't fear this lightning arc, but now he couldn't ignore it. Sensing this, the disaster transformation state released a shield and the red flower expanded. He changed the flying sword he released to also block Emo's lightning sword. That cauldron-filling state was going to use his secret technique to escape the domain's control, but he didn't expect this body condensation state to give him such a surprise. He immediately used his cultivation essence and broke free, then he didn't retreat and instead attacked with his sword again. That disaster transformation state was in a hurry to stop the densely cluttered lightning sword and wasn't able to stop the white light. In that short time, the white light grew larger and larger as well as increasing in numbers. This disaster transformation state cultivator felt bad. He didn't expect himself to be unable to beat a body condensation state and cauldron-filling state. If it was some ordinary cauldron-filling state, he wouldn't be worried at all even when facing 70 or 80. But this body condensation state cultivator was so absurd. His lightning style was no weaker than lightning-style cauldron-filling state peak stage cultivators, or even the lightning used by disaster transformation state cultivators. Rumble Emo's black lightning rained down on the disaster transformation state's shield. At the same time, the white sword waves grew heavier and heavier. With a thud, the thick sword hacked on the shield and the disaster transformation state spat blood. He knew that if he didn't leave and got stuck here, he might really die. A disaster transformation state cultivator killed by a cauldron-filling state and body condensation state. That was a big joke. Thinking about this, the flower suddenly sprayed out a red veil that swept him. When Emo's lightning sword broke this veil, that disaster transformation state cultivator was long gone. Emo didn't mind. He knew that with his current power, unless he set up a trap formation, it was impossible to kill a disaster transformation state cultivator. After the disaster transformation state ran off, the cauldron-filling state tertiary stage cultivator also looked at Emo in shock. Although Emo was just body condensation state level 7, he suspected he might even be a match for him. This body condensation state cultivator was the strongest body condensation state he had ever seen. "Thank you for helping, friend, I'm Bien Fingta." That cauldron-filling state saluted with his fists to Emo. Emo also replied politely. "I'm Emo, you don't have to worry about just now, I was just helping myself. If it wasn't for you helping, I would need to run." Bien Fingta immediately got triggered. "That disaster transformation state cultivator is too rude, just because he's stronger, he was going to kill people on a whim. I found 2 Jews Xing on a barren island and he was passing by. He wanted to rob me and chase me to here." Jiexing was a level 8 spirit herb, also the main spirit herb for disaster will pill. It was extremely precious. No wonder that disaster transformation state cultivator was going to chase Bien Fingta. Disaster will pill was the main cultivation pill disaster transformation state cultivators used. It was too hard to cultivate in disaster transformation state. One needed large amounts of spirit chi and high-level spirit herbs. Brother Yi, the nearest powers, the 3 Cs, are also very far from here. Why would you be here alone? Bianfengta asked. He believed that although Yemo was strong, he was only body condensation state. It was too unwise for a body condensation state to come here. Yemo asked instead, Are you from the 3 Cs? Bianfengta shook his head. No, I came from East Black State. The spirit chi is too arid there, and there are rarely any high-level spirit herbs. I can barely progress at cauldron filling state tertiary stage. I heard from the Qian Bais in East Black State that the South Peace State's spirit chi is extremely dense, and it's the place for immortal ascension, so I left East Black State to go to South Peace State. You're from East Black State? Yemo asked in shock. East Black State was quite a bit from here. Bianfengta nodded. Yes, I left East Black State 50 years ago and flew all the way here on a middle-grade flying cultivation artifact. I've been cultivating as I went, and I've encountered many dangers on the way, but I'm very close to South Peace State. Yemo heard this and immediately had respect for Bianfengta. He spent half a century crossing the Heartless Sea just to pursue higher cultivation levels. Yemo immediately replied, Brother Bien, I didn't come from the 3 Cs, I came from the South Peace State. If you're using a middle-grade flying cultivation artifact, then it will take less than a year to reach South Peace State. Good luck. Yemo immediately replied, Brother Bien, I didn't come from the 3 Cs, I came from the South Peace State. If you're using a middle-grade flying cultivation artifact, then it will take less than a year to reach South Peace State. Good luck. Brother Yi, you actually came from South Peace State? Is the South Peace State spirit chi really dense and suitable for cultivation to immortal ascension? Bianfengta asked in surprise and joy. Yemo nodded. That's right, it indeed has dense spirit chi. Although I haven't seen people go through immortal ascension, it's indeed the best place for cultivation. Then you're going back to South Peace State? Let's go together, Bianfengta immediately said. Yemo was only body condensation state, but he was very powerful and a lightning cultivator. It would be much safer for him to go with Yemo. Yemo said apologetically. I need to go Heartless Sea to find a herb, so I can't go back with you. Thinking about this, Yemo thought of the map Meng Henan gave him. That position was near the east side. He wondered if Bianfengta had been there. Thinking about this, he took it out and asked, Brother Bien, have you been past here? Bianfengta took the jade slip and looked, then his face changed drastically, and he looked at Yemo in shock. You're going to Lost Soul Ruins? You must not go there, you won't be able to get back out if you go there. Yemo looked at Bianfengta in confusion. Brother Bien, you've really been there? It's called Lost Soul Ruins? It can't be that dangerous, right? Bianfengta said seriously. That place is very eerie. I haven't been there, but I went past that place. I heard people say there were level 9 spirit herbs there, so I went around to go there. Heard? How come he'd never heard anyone say that? Bianfengta explained. I survived till now not just because my power is barely below disaster transformation state level 1, but also because I'm careful. I never look for trouble in the Heartless Sea. I won't even touch low-level spirit beasts. In fact, not all the beast cultivators in Heartless Sea are murderous. Some pursue cultivation just like human cultivators. I know about Lost Soul Ruins because I met a cauldron-filling state peak stage beast cultivator. He told me a lot of things I didn't know about the Heartless Sea. He even told me about the Lost Soul Ruins. He told me there are large amounts of level 9 spirit herbs and even level 10 spirit herbs. Yemo was shook. A level 10 spirit herb was an immortal herb. How could it appear in the cultivation realm? Bianfengta continued. That beast cultivator is called Tingyi. We got along well and became good friends. Because I was a level 3 pill king and helped him concoct many pills, he took me to Lost Soul Ruins, but we didn't go in. From afar, I felt this ominous feeling. The entire Lost Soul Ruins is covered in a gray mist. Spirit sense can't scan in at all. Tingy told me that regardless of whether they were human or beast cultivator, those who went in never came back. Those rare few who came back lost their soul and were just walking bodies. Yemo heard this and his heart sunk. Either Menghanan tricked him, or she was only at the outskirts of the place. Immortal Crow Flower was the only thing that could save Jiling. If Yemo didn't try, he wouldn't be able to forgive himself. Brother Yi, are you still going to go? Bien Fingta looked expectantly at Yemo. If Yemo wasn't going, they could go back to South Peace State together. Yemo nodded slowly. Since I came, I must go see. If there's really no way, I won't have any regrets. If it was certain death, Yemo wouldn't go in, but he had to try first. Hearing this, Bien Fingta fell silent for a while before saying, In that case, I will go with Brother Yi. Yemo looked at Bien Fingta in confusion. They had only met for the first time. He didn't have that much charisma, right? Bien Fingta saw this and smiled. Brother Yi is only body condensation state level 7, and you didn't get injured fighting with a disaster transformation state cultivator. Plus, Brother Yi's lightning sword is some powerful magic I've never seen before. I believe Brother Yi isn't an ordinary person in South Peace State. My cultivation level is higher than Brother Yi, but it's only a matter of time for Brother Yi to surpass me. I don't know anyone in South Peace State, so I might as well go with Brother Yi. Plus, I've been walking in the Heartless Sea for decades. I won't mind staying here an extra year or two. To be honest, I really admire Brother Yi and want to be friends. Would you think I'm being too sudden? Yemo finally realized why Bien Fingta was able to come here despite being cauldron-filling state and became friends with a beast cultivator. He had keen eyes and spoke comfortable words. He was quite a clean and honest person. Yemo didn't need to hide things anymore. He also felt Bien Fingta was a worthy person to connect with. His 3 birth chance instincts were very good, and he usually wouldn't see wrong. He said to Bien Fingta, Of course I would love being friends with Brother Bien, but other than finding the Immortal Crow Flower at Lost Soul Ruins, I still need to go north far state. So regardless of whether I can get it, I won't be able to go to South Peace State with Brother Bien. But don't worry about not having a place to go in South Peace State. Just like you said, I have a little fame in South Peace State. I have my own city. If you don't mind, you can go to MOU City. What? You want to travel the Heartless Sea and go to North Far State? Bien Fingta looked at Yemo in shock. Yemo nodded seriously. That's right. Bien Fingta heard this and fell silent for a long while before exclaiming, Brother Yi, you're the most brave cultivator I've seen to dare cross the Heartless Sea at body condensation state power, and leave the dense spirit chi of South Peace State to go to North Far State. I know you have a reason that you must go, but no matter what, I greatly admire you, so I will still take you to Lost Soul Ruins and wait a month for you. Bien Fingta trusted his eyes. Yemo was no ordinary cultivator, and it was worth it to spend a few years to connect with him. Yemo knew what he meant. If he didn't come out, Bien Fingta would take this news to South Peace State, but Yemo saluted with his fists. Thank you, Brother Bien, but you only need to point me the way. There's no need to send me over and wait a month. Bien Fingta said genuinely. Brother Yi, if you approve of me, then let me go with you. Although I can't go with North Far State with you, it's my honor to meet someone like you. Yemo smiled. In that case, all right. I'm smaller than you, just call me Yemo. Bien Fingta was willing to spend a few years to take him there. This friend was worth making. Bien Fingta said with joy. Okay then, Yemo, just call me RTA. That's what my martial siblings called me in my sect. Yemo said. Okay, RTA, seeing that you're cauldron-filling state level 8, you must be from a big sect in East Black State, right? Bien Fingta's eyes flashed with some sadness and nodded. Yes, I was from the Hidden Sword Sect. 8-star sect, Hidden Sword Sect? Yemo asked in shock. You know East Black State's Hidden Sword Sect? Bien Fingta looked at Yemo in confusion. Yemo nodded. Yes, I heard my wife say that it's one of only 3 8-star sects in East Black State. Luoing told him this when they were in Magical Herb Sect. Yemo asked again. RTA, do you know a small 4-star sect called Magical Herb Sect in East Black State? Bien Fingta nodded. It seems you know a lot. Even such little sections I only learned of it after I left. It's said that sect is very low-key and their low-grade pills are good. I don't know anything else. Yemo felt sad. He believed that when Bienfinta left, Magical Herb's sect hadn't been attacked yet. You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.